between him and the local authority was not facilitated. PRO of the Micah Action Group, Michael Doherty, says that's disappointing.
Until we have the other scheme up and running, the council really are in full control of this scheme. And, where they're not getting support from the department, they had an opportunity to shout from the rooftops and say so. We then had Kevin Dillon. This man has a lot of sway down there and is dealing with the department every day. Again, it's apparently circumstances beyond their control, but the bottom line for homeowners is that there was an opportunity to represent themselves in front of key influencers, and it didn't happen for the second time in a row, second time in a month.
Parents and carers of children under 12 are to be given a legal right to request flexible working hours and remote working. It's part of proposed new government legislation that's aimed at creating a better work-life balance for families. The plan, which is going before Cabinet today, would also give people 5 days of unpaid leave a year to care for sick family members. The right to paid breastfeeding breaks would also be extended from 6 months to 2 years under the bill. Director of HR firm CIPD Ireland, Mary Connaughton, says the change is needed.
Currently, few women would benefit from breastfeeding leave because they would be on maternity leave up to the 26 weeks. So as they now return to the workplace, they will now continue their entitlement for breastfeeding breaks, though it will require some employers to look at their facilities to see how they can facilitate that on site, or whether they have to shorten the working day of the employees involved.
And up to 300 Ukrainian refugees could be housed in a mass accommodation centre in Cork by the end of this week. The Irish Times is reporting the emergency facility with 300 beds at the Mill Street Arena will be used from this week onwards. It's among the plans to house those fleeing the war, which will be discussed when senior ministers meet later. Almost 25,000 Ukrainians have now arrived in Ireland, 85% of them women and children. Foreign Affairs Minister Simon Coveney told the UN Security Council last night Ireland will do all it can to help those in need.
Any Ukrainian that's fleeing conflict can come to Ireland, and indeed any country in the EU, and will be treated effectively as an EU citizen in terms of healthcare, education, and of course housing, which of course is a huge challenge for a small country like Ireland. But Irish people are opening their homes, and we have made a commitment that we will make our home their home. For as long as is necessary.
Weather now. Today will be mostly dry with sunny spells and just a slight chance of an isolated shower. Highest temperatures of 12 or 13 degrees. We're back with more at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
And a very good morning to you. This is the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. Donal Kavanagh with you until 12 noon today. A lot to happen on the programme this morning. Lots of interesting people to speak to, lots of interesting perspectives to hear. But remember, the most important perspectives on this programme are yours. Your views, your priorities and the issues you want to discuss. If you want to let us know what they are, just text us on 086 60 25000. Use that number for WhatsApp messages as well. You can call us on 074 91 25000, 00353 74 91 25000 if you're outside of the dialing area. Caroline is taking your calls and producing this morning as well. You can use social media, of course. It's at Highland Radio on Twitter, it's Highland Hub on Facebook, and you can email us comments at highlandradio.com. You can, of course, watch the programme live on Facebook and on YouTube as well, our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages, and you can see the programme unfold, and you can see any Zoom calls that we take in the course of the programme. You can actually see those on the screen in front of you, and that brings you just a little bit closer to what's going on as well. So a myriad of ways of connecting with the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. And as always, we encourage you to connect and let us know your views and your comments. And of course, if you wish to come on air to discuss those issues, that can be facilitated as well, of course. The newspapers this morning on a Wednesday, it's the 20th of April 2022. Main headline on the Donegal Post, motorcyclist killed in Rossnowla collision. Gardaí appeal for witnesses after Monaghan man dies. And you'll have heard that he appealed for information on our community Garda slot yesterday as well. That's the main story on the Donegal Post. And a lovely photograph of Emily Colangelo and Paula McNeilis of McNeilis Cunningham School of Dancing in Donegal Town. Emily has won a World Irish Dancing Championship title for a second time. She's a student at Ross's Community School and is in fifth year, and I presume that photograph was taken in Belfast. I was in Belfast last week, Monday of last week, and it was quite obvious that there was a major Irish dancing competition going on, because the hotel my daughter and I were staying in downstairs was just full of people in the wigs and in dresses, sort of getting some practice moves in the foyer before boarding buses, and there was a lot of excitement and a lot of activity. So there was clearly a major dancing championship going on in Belfast, and I presume that's where that picture was taken. Inish Times this morning, Gardaí seeking to interview councillor under caution. On Garda's Síochána are seeking to interview a Donegal County councillor under caution following incidents that allegedly took place at a full meeting of Donegal County Council in Letterkenny's Ora Leisure Centre last month. The incidents took place at the centre's sports hall on March 28th. They led to the subsequent adjournment of the annual meeting for 1 week, and Gardaí have confirmed to the Inish Times that they are investigating an alleged public order incident. The front of the Finn Valley Voice this morning: build these log cabins now, says Councillor. There are a lot of very high quality log cabins out there on the market at the moment. Modular homes are quick to build and tick a lot of boxes, so says Councillor Michael McBride in Pat Holland's story on the front of the Finn Valley Voice this morning. And indeed, the issue of log cabins to tackle things like the need for housing as a result of the mica crisis and other housing priorities is one that Councillor McBride has discussed on this programme and elsewhere as well. Moving to the national papers this morning, the Irish Times main headline: hotels running out of space for Ukrainian refugees, and referencing a story you'll have heard Catherine mention on the news. Mill Street Arena in County Cork expected to house 300 new arrivals on short-term basis, and there is potentially capacity for several more refugees in that centre in Mill Street if it is needed. Also on the front, pay doubles for chief executives of leading firms. Bonuses drive rewards to new highs in Ireland's top listed companies, so writes Joe Brennan in his story on the front of the Irish Times. Front of the Irish Independent this morning: child victims to get €20 million payout over treatment by junior doctor. At least 240 families hit by scandal could benefit from state compensation scheme. The prescribing and diagnostic practices of a barely supervised junior doctor at a mental health service for children are said to cost the state millions in euro in compensation awards and other payments. It relates to the South Kerry Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service CAMS, which was in the news quite a bit in recent months. Front of the Irish Daily Mail this morning: €280 million to satisfy teacher demands. Teacher unions vow to fight tooth and nail for up to €6,000 salary boost to fight inflation. Teachers are seeking a boost of up to €6,000 a year as they fight for pay rises. While plans for industrial action have been shelved pending pay talks, the taxpayer is set to fork out even more as public sector workers seek pay increases up to 8% to combat the soaring cost of living. And we're told the Education Minister, Norma Foley, was heckled by teachers at a conference in Killarney yesterday. She was told the government's pay agreement with teachers is set to collapse very soon unless improvements are made. And the teacher conferences continue this week. Easter week is always the week when obviously you have those conferences, and Norma Foley, a very, very busy minister indeed, this week. The Irish Daily Star this morning, the front page main story: a community in shock, camogie star's tragic death. All-Ireland winning camogie player Kate Moran has died after sustaining a head injury in an accident. Ms Moran, who is in her early 20s, was hit by a slitter and hurley during a club game on Monday, and she tragically passed away yesterday, and it's just one of those horrific stories. Also on the front, and we referenced yesterday the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo and his partner have lost one of two twins that were born at the weekend, and it was lovely to see last night in Anfield. And we all know the Liverpool-Manchester United rivalry, but to hear the Liverpool fans singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" in tribute to him was it was a lovely gesture. It was a really nice thing to see, and that happened in the 7th minute of the game, reflecting the fact that Ronaldo wears the number 7 shirt. So it was nice to see that in the midst of all the rivalry and all the supposed hatred, there is still humanity and there is still respect for everyone, and that's the way it should be. Again, Liverpool 4, Man United 0, that result reflected on the front of the Irish Daily Mirror. And the main story again, Camogie star dies in match horror. Shockers Kate 20 dies in hospital from head injury after accidental collision. And you really have to feel for anyone who was on that pitch when that happened. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of counselling, and there'll be a lot of, I suspect, talking and soul searching and comforting going on in that particular area, because for that to happen, to be on that pitch and to witness that. It was interesting. There was an injury in a Premiership match at the weekend, and I can't remember which teams were. It may have been West Ham and Burnley. It may have been. I don't want to say that off the top of my head, but I remember there was 2 players were involved in an accidental collision, and one of them was taken off with what appears to have been a fairly bad ankle injury, and the other player that was involved in the collision was on his knees with his head in his hands on the pitch, and you could see he was in distress. You could see that he was, I think he was a West Ham player, and I hope I'm right here, because I will sound really idiotic if I'm not. I think he was a West Ham player, and it was a Burnley player that was taken off with the injury, if I recall correctly. But it was you could see the distress on the player that was involved in what was again an accidental collision. So you really feel for anyone who was on that pitch and going. Again, front of the Irish Daily Sun, "You'll Never Walk Alone," Ron. And also, Liam Gallagher features on the front of the Irish Sun. Liam, I need new hips. Oasis star 49 reveals arthritis agony. Former Oasis rocker Liam Gallagher has been told by doctors he needs new hips. The 49-year-old revealed he's in agony with arthritis. Liam, famed for his onstage swagger, said, "My hips are effed. I've got arthritis bad. I went to get it checked out. My bones are mashed up." So says Liam Gallagher. And that's the stories on the papers that are making the headlines on this Wednesday morning. We're going to take a short break. Back after these.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Tune in this Thursday for all the latest farming news and views straight after the 5 p.m. news. Brought to you in association with Lifford Credit Union, who have recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call into any of their 3 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Lifford Credit Union, Rafo Newton Lifford, supporting local farmers.
Is your water safe to drink? If your water tastes unpleasant or has a foul smell, it may be a sign that something is in your water. Brothers Tech Donegal provide a complete private well water treatment service using the best water treatment equipment to meet your needs. Or maybe you drilled a new well and the water isn't satisfactory. At Brothers Tech, their expert team will also service existing problematic systems. If you're concerned about the quality of your water, call Brothers Tech on 087 638 7057.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
If you'd like to save on your home printing costs, switch to a cartridge-free printer. Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know that Epson EcoTank printers can save you up to 90% on the cost of ink. They're different to most printers because they use an ink tank that's easily filled with a bottle instead of using cartridges. Save money and time with an Epson EcoTank printer at Ben Sweeney Euronics Port Road, Letterkenny and the shopping centre, Donal.
Ben Sweeney Euronics. We deliver, we install, we care.
The CFC Interiors stock disposal sale is now on. Due to overstock, an incredible £1.5 million worth of stock must go. Don't miss our highest ever stock discount on selected ranges across all departments. The stock disposal sale at CFC Interiors Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre. The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit, Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
Joined on Zoom by Senator Timmy Dooley, who was featured in news yesterday because he has called for unruly or disruptive airline passengers to face a lifetime ban from flying after he witnessed 4 drunk men subject women to what he termed outrageous behaviour on board a flight from Poland to Dublin. Now, Mr Dooley had previously been in Kyiv in Ukraine, and we're going to talk to him about that in a moment. But first of all, Senator Dooley, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
Very well indeed, thank you. Senator Dooley, you witnessed this behaviour on a plane. Now, obviously, you had a very intense few days in Ukraine, and we're going to get to that in a moment. And what you witnessed on that plane is something that you say really will stick with you for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing that you hear about every now and again, but it isn't until you witness it at first hand that it brings home to you the pressure that airline crew are under all the time. And I have to say, it was a Ryanair flight, and I have to compliment the staff to the highest level because they managed to remain calm in what was a fairly charged situation. You had 4 individuals, two and two, who clearly got very drunk on the flight. The flight was delayed, so we were on the tarmac for an hour before we took off. They had brought their drink on board. And unlike most people, when they got drunk, they started to become abusive to the staff in the first instance, and then to other passengers. And it was difficult because there was a number of women on board with children. They felt clearly intimidated. Children were crying. Some of the women were crying. And then I saw one individual be groped by one of the individuals who was drunk. And that's unacceptable. They seemed to abuse the staff in a way that they seemed like they were outside a pub or in a nightclub or something like that. Behaviour that you wouldn't accept there either. But when you're in a confined metal tube for 2 hours, it becomes a little bit more intense, and it can be very upsetting and disturbing for people. And I think those people who choose to behave like that need to know that if they do, there is a deterrent there for them. They were arrested when the plane landed, and rightly so, and I'm sure they'll face various charges. But I think there needs to be a stronger deterrent, and I think there needs to be a headline that says, you know, if you act like this, if you allow yourself to behave like this, you won't be flying with any airline again in Europe.
No, we do know, and as you said, they were arrested, and we do know that the courts here, and indeed the courts in the UK and elsewhere, do have a history of dealing quite harshly with cases like that on planes, and those such cases are taken very seriously, and there have been a number of high profile cases in the past. You believe that it's almost at the point now where that's not a deterrent anymore, and the prospect of being banned from flying is potentially a very real one that should be held over people, and they should be aware that it's going to happen if they continue to persist.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, I'm quite taken by the number of people that have contacted me in recent days, because you hear about these cases every now and again, and it's often when it's maybe somebody of some note or notoriety or standing or whatever that acts up on a flight. But from contacts that I've had from air crews and staff, they say, you know, across the divide, it's not any particular airline, but across the airline sector, that it's a fairly regular occurrence. And it certainly impacts on their ability to carry out their work. And then I've heard from passengers as well who relayed instances that they have seen in the past. One of the biggest difficulties that I saw on that particular day was there were a number of other individuals who clearly didn't like what was going on and wanted to take the situation into their hands. So it becomes a rather difficult situation if you have a couple of people who see this going on and decide to intervene themselves. So you can have, you know, a situation develop that blows out of all control. Look, we've all been on flights and on buses and on public transport where you have the silly drunk on occasion, who's more of a nuisance than anything else, and sometimes a little bit of entertainment almost. That certainly wasn't the situation on this situation. Look, I know that there are hen nights and stag parties that travel on flights to different destinations, and they're often in good spirits and in good form, and you know they sing along, and you know it's not about you know preventing people from having a drink or enjoying themselves as they travel. It's this you know really insulting behaviour that's intimidating, that's threatening, That's really what you want to rule out. So it's not suggesting to somebody that, you know, a group of lads go away or a group of women go away, either they've got to remain quiet or whatever on a plight. It's not at all that. It's about the outrageous behaviour that's seen as sexually charged, which it was, interfering with people, you know, grabbing masks off people's face because they didn't wear them or didn't want to wear them. So, you know, really outrageous behaviour for a flight. So
and the bottom line,
and
the bottom line on a flight has got to be that the captain in particular and all flight crew are in charge of that flight. They're in charge of your safety and the safety of others. And if flight crew issue an instruction, that instruction should be followed to the letter without question and without hesitation.
Absolutely, and we were lucky on that day because the ability of the support staff on board, together with a few of us that they asked for help, were able to keep the peace, if you want, and allow the plane to land safely in Dublin. But in some instances, what it requires is for the captain to take a decision to divert to the closest airport, and further delay passengers who might already have been delayed, and maybe it takes an extra day to get to their destination. So it's not without implications for other passengers, and it needs to be addressed.
The reason you were on that plane flying back to Dublin from Poland is that you had spent some time in Ukraine. You'd be in Kiev and in some of the suburbs that have featured very prominently in news in the past fortnight. That must have been a very difficult and emotional trip to take.
It was. This is an invitation that had been issued to us. We're a Fianna Fáil party, which I'm a member of, together with MEP Billy Kelleher, are linked through a European platform, a European party, with President Zelensky's party, and they're in regular contact with us. And they asked us to visit previously Lviv to see the humanitarian crisis that was there with refugees fleeing from the east of the country. We saw that at the time and reported on it and put some work in place to ensure that they got across the border more quickly, and had a better experience crossing the border, because it was very difficult in the early stages. On this occasion, they asked us to come back and see what was left of the city of Bucha and Irpin, just north of Lviv, where the Russian forces had been pushed back by the Ukrainian forces. And to say that the place is devastated is an understatement. We talk here in Ireland about devastation from floods or from a fire of a home or from some kind of natural disaster. But when you enter a town and for as far as you can see, street by street, just completely, the place completely devastated. High-rise buildings shelled and burnt, chunks gone out of the side of buildings.
Now, we know that there have been questions over whether or not war crimes have been committed.
It really is. It really is an area that has been completely devastated by the Russians. Just as I said, systematically, street after street, and then to see much of the area people had already left before they came. But for those that remained and tried to run when they came, we saw the remains of their cars that had been, shot through with rifle bullets, blood-stained cars, children's toys in the cars. It really is a sight that you'd hope you wouldn't be seeing in this day and age, but sadly, it's going to be a feature of many more towns and cities across Ukraine.
The Russians have attempted to claim that many of those scenes you saw would have been stage managed, and that there have been claims of war crimes that are untrue, and that effectively the Ukrainian authorities are trying to set them up and make claims of things that didn't happen. Speaking as someone who's been on the ground, who has seen the situation, who has been there in Bucha, do you believe there is any credence whatsoever to that?
None. Absolutely none whatsoever. The entire area is completely decimated. Now, there's no way in the world that any country would do that to its own citizens. We met with people who managed to survive kind of by remaining underground or scuttling underground into various different shelters. They saw the Russian tanks. They saw the Russian armour cars. They saw the Russian soldiers take aim at and fire at Ukrainian citizens. The extent to which the Russian propaganda regime takes the rest of the world for fools is really amazing. every time they're questioned about the intentional targeting of civilians, they say, "Oh, we didn't do that. That must have been the Ukrainians." Now, like the scale of it is phenomenal. I mean, for sure, in a war, there's the odd stray missile that hits the wrong target and ends up hitting a civilian location. But this was an entire 2 civilian cities, and they were systematically bombed. And it wasn't just bombing from missiles in the distance. It was up close with smaller fire from tanks and from other shelling, and then right down to rifle fire on the cars as people escaped. So it could never be presented as accidental. We met with people who had managed, as I said, to survive, and they relayed the stories of working with the local parish priest to temporarily bury bodies, and we saw those bodies being excavated again now that the Ukrainians were in control, so that their bodies could go through the post-mortem process and the crimes be documented, and hopefully that it will lead to some kind of a tribunal of war crimes against the Russian soldiers and the Russian leadership, and obviously the process of trying to identify the bodies, get them back to their families so that they can have a proper humane burial. So the witnesses of the people that I met and the scenes that I saw were absolutely consistent with war crimes. In fact, I'd go a stage further. It looked to me, based on the way the places had been bombed and shelled and attacked, that it was an effort to wipe out the Ukrainian people in that area, and in any definition of genocide, that forms part of it. So it was pretty clear to me that they were war crimes with the intent of genocide, and I think that will form part of, hopefully, some trials at a later stage for the people who've perpetrated that on an innocent people who were going about their daily business, living their lives, getting on with life up to 52 or 3 days ago.
There are many refugees coming over to Ireland at the moment, and yesterday we spoke to a local INTU representative at their annual conference in Killarney, and she was saying that one of the really important things now is that the psychological and mental health supports are put in place to ensure that when Ukrainian children come into our schools who have fled that area, that they are given all the supports they need. Now, from what you've seen, you've seen the situation that people are escaping from. You perhaps more than most of us have got an understanding of what these people have witnessed, what these people are fleeing from, and what's on their minds and what they have to deal with. You'll be, I'm sure, anxious to see as much support as possible put in place to ensure that, particularly in the schools and for the younger people coming over here for Ukraine, that they do have all the supports that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we've got to be cautious too. It's just not possible to magic up all this support staff. I mean, we're stretched enough. I listened on another programme earlier this morning to the Minister with responsibility in the area of child and adolescents mental health issues. And it can be very difficult to hire staff for these years because, quite frankly, they're not there. So I think, yes, every support that's possible needs to be put in place. But I think as a community, I think what's happening in every community where the Ukrainian people have come, in terms of the love and support that's been shown by the ordinary, decent people in the Irish community, that's going to have more of a help and assistance than anything else. And for sure, there will have to be appropriate intervention in cases where children in particular are suffering. But I think we shouldn't underestimate what we as individuals in communities can do and are doing for these people, to show them that there is a safe space here for them for as long as they need it, that we're prepared to go the extra mile to make them feel welcome. Many of them left in a hurry. They didn't know what was going to happen. They're now seeing on a daily basis what has happened. And sadly for many of them, the men that they've left behind, their loved ones, their fathers, their husbands, their brothers, their uncles, many of them will have perished and probably will perish in the not too distant future. And that's the really hard thing. There's quite a lot of Ukrainian refugees in County Clare, where I come from, and I visit with them on a regular basis. And, you know, every time you go, you meet somebody else who has lost a loved one. And that's really difficult. And that's where the continued support of the Irish people is really important. And thank you for giving voice to myself and others who have seen it at first hand, because it'll help hopefully our being there and our seeing it at first hand helps us to communicate with our communities just what these people have fled, what they have left, and what they're suffering. And collectively as a community, Ireland has always shown its great support for people in their hour and their time of need. And I think that's now. It's not short term though. This is going to be a medium term problem that for the Ukrainian refugees, that we have to stick with them for the long haul and support them until such time as the aggression relieves and that they're in a position to return, because the overwhelming desire from the refugees that I talk to is they want to go home. Even those that have lost everything, they want to get back to their country. They want to rebuild their lives. Some will stay here, but I think the vast majority want to go back to rebuild as soon as they possibly can, and we'll have to support them, and rightly so, in every way we can.
Senator Timmy Dooley, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
You're welcome.
That's Senator Timmy Dooley there, who, as you heard on the news yesterday and we discussed earlier, has called for flight bans to be imposed on people who are convicted of creating drunken trouble on airplanes. And it was on his return home from that trip to Ukraine, when he was on a flight from Poland to Dublin, a Ryanair flight, that Senator Dooley witnessed 4 men engage in what he described as outrageous behaviour on board that flight. The men were arrested and detained when they arrived at Dublin. And a caller just has left a comment saying this country is much too lenient. Pre-legal aid is offered to all opposed to punishment. These men will receive a wee slap on the wrist. They should have to face consequences, and that indeed is what Senator Dooley is saying, that there should be a ban on flying in the future, and that perhaps would make people pause for thought before they indulge in drunken behaviour of that nature on an airplane flight.
Break free from the same old. Join a community where people can grow and be at their best. Join ZincWorks and develop software for the biggest companies in the world, working with 5G and financial services. We value learning. We want you to be a better engineer every day you work with us. We value teamwork. We want you to learn from your peers and help your peers learn. We are now hiring across our offices in Athlone and Letterkenny. See zincworks.com/careers.
For a great early season lawnmower deal, visit Gartley Sales and Hire. Exclusive stockists of Stiga in the Northwest. Mowers, trimmers and hedge trimmers. Full trade and service available at Gartley Sales and Hire, Gartley, Letterkenny. Call 9126276.
This summer, holidays are go with Jet2 Holidays and Atlantic Travel. So go explore your sunny favourites with hundreds of free child places available. Ask the experts at Atlantic Travel about your next Jet2 holiday by calling 074 912 6193. And book now with just a £60 deposit per person. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Subject to availability and conditions.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor offers the most advanced skincare treatments for men and women, treating conditions such as acne, skin tags, rosacea and scarring. As a qualified aesthetics practitioner, Mary Ferry offers a range of anti-aging treatments including dermal fillers, thread lifts, profilo, skin boosters, microneedling and LED light therapy. Hair and makeup also available. Download the Genesis Salon app today or call 07495 32575.
Get your weekly shop at M&S. Check out remarkable value with over 100 everyday products at really surprising prices, like pasta for just 50 cents, or fresh market specials, seasonal veg, all at 50 cents. Plus, we've lowered the prices on the products we know you love to buy, from our traceable lean Irish minced beef to rich tea biscuits. So pop in today and enjoy great quality at prices you love, with all these ways to save at M&S Food. Subject to availability, see in store for details.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit, Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
And we'll be giving you an opportunity to win a voucher for Florit on the programme this morning. First chance coming up very shortly indeed. But before we do anything else, I want to go to Marina Porter, who is manager of the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre, which has recently launched a recruitment drive for volunteers to support the people that the centre helps. Marina, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Marina, we spoke yesterday. It was a different context, but it was the same sort of call. We were speaking about community games. Again, as I say, it's a very different thing, but what we were hearing very much is that there is a desire to help out there and there is an interest out there, but sometimes the problem can just be getting people to come forward. In this instance, you're looking for people to come and assist you in your work, and I suspect people will not be found wanting.
Yes. We are, like all rape crisis centres, we depend very much on volunteers, same as all other charities and community organisations. So our volunteers would do SATU accompaniment. That's accompanying somebody in the immediate aftermath of sexual violence to the sexual assault treatment unit. Our volunteers provide court accompaniment to anyone who's going to court, or Garda accompaniment as well if someone wants somebody just to be there for giving a statement. And we do provide full training for all of these positions because we're members of the Rape Crisis Network of Ireland. So it's our CNI training that we provide, and our CNI provide the court and Garda training and also legal information training for people as well.
It's hugely important work because these volunteers, you're helping people who are at their most vulnerable, and you know, and what those people need at that point in time, they need advice and they need help and legal support and so on, all of which hopefully they are getting. But they also, and maybe most importantly, need a friend, someone they can turn around and look in the eye that they know is there to support them.
Yes, Donal, absolutely. They just need, you know, another human being with compassion and who's grounded, and, you know, just give them some empathy and reassurance, and to reassure them that they're not on their own. And then obviously, you know, give them information about the various services we provide as well, because we now work with people aged 12 up due to the huge need. So we're working with parents, families, spouses, partners, as well as, you know, survivors themselves.
What sort of people are you looking for? Because I'm sure there are people listening who will be thinking, I would love to help, but I can't. I don't have the qualifications. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the expertise. As you say, training is being provided. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there who are very well qualified to do what's needed, but maybe haven't got the confidence to put themselves forward.
Yes. Well, due to the nature of the work, it's anyone aged 25 and over. And, you know, if someone maybe has medical training like nurses or retired people, maybe someone involved in legal practice, trainee counsellors, or maybe a parent whose kids have grown up and they find themselves with some time on their hands, because really life is our greatest teacher, I think. So really just someone who's caring and grounded. And as I say, we provide training and obviously support then as well. Because of the nature of the work, we know, you know, you're dealing with trauma. And as you said, Donal, we're dealing with people at probably some of the most vulnerable times of their lives. So really it is just the personality of the volunteers is the strongest thing, really, rather than qualifications. It's just, you know, that they're grounded and caring. That's basically it, yeah.
The sad reality is that most of the people you are helping will be female, but not exclusively so. There will be males who will be requiring your help and support as well, and that will be reflected in the volunteers.
Yes. Because at the moment we have 2 male therapists working for us as well, which is great because, you know, people can have a choice of whether they would like to work with a male or female. So it would be great to have that choice as well in the volunteers, because just as not all our clients are female, not all perpetrators are male either, unfortunately. So it's good to have that choice for people.
You're hoping to get people who would live within a 50-minute drive from Letterkenny.
About an hour. Yeah.
What other qualities or traits are you looking for in people who may be thinking about putting themselves forward?
Well, we have a rota for volunteers. So the SATU, the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, that operates 24/7 all year round. So we have a rota, people might go on a day or go on a night. So sometimes people work night shifts, and then when they're used to kind of being awake in the middle of the night. So if you do get a call to attend in the middle of the night, it's okay, and then daytime suits other people better. So obviously the more volunteers we have, the less often they would be putting themselves forward on the rotas. And then for court, we would get sometimes a month's notice, sometimes it could be a week's notice, and you might be with someone for half a day, or you could be there for the whole week with someone. So it really depends on the situation.
So, and someone's availability is going to determine the nature of the work they'll be asked to do. And
absolutely, yeah. And in doing the training as well, both the potential volunteers and ourselves will recognise, well, this would probably suit you better, or the other would suit you better. And we provide shadowing as well, so no one is going to just be trained and be sent off on their own to court or out to SATU, or, in with someone giving a statement either in the centre or the Garda station. They'll be accompanied several times to make sure they're comfortable.
And you have made it quite important that what's necessary will be someone who's empathic and non-judgmental, reliable, good listeners, good communication, good interpersonal skills, someone who can draw on their own life experience. And that maybe is more important than intellectual knowledge or training or sort of past educational experience.
Absolutely, that's far more important than anything else, yeah.
If people do wish to volunteer, Marina, how can they do so? What's the best way to get in contact?
They can call the centre on 91282211 or email info@donegalrapecrisis.ie, and we'll get back to them. And if anybody would like to come in, have a cup of tea and a chat, have a look around, find out more about the organisation, they're very, very welcome. Just give us a wee call first.
Marina Porter, manager of the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre, thanks indeed for speaking to us this morning, and hopefully you will get a good response to this call, and you'll get that pool of volunteers that you need to carry on this very important work.
Thank you, Donal. Thanks very much.
It's our pleasure, Marina. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that's Marina there, who is speaking to us from the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre, seeking volunteers to help with court visits and with the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, and will be able to provide help to people who are vulnerable and in a situation that is an extremely difficult one. And if you believe you can provide that support and provide that friendship and provide that companionship when it's needed most, then that's something perhaps that you might consider doing. Caller responding to what Timmy Dooley said to us earlier, Senator Timmy Dooley, says if this Fianna Fáil politician had visited Iraq or Libya or Syria or Afghanistan, Yemen, Gaza, all those places were available for visits over the course of the past 30 years. The devastation in these countries is unimaginable. But because it was NATO who destroyed these countries, there are no discussions about war crimes and no such claims being made. So says a caller. It's approaching 9:45. We'll take a short break. Back after these.
Let's call out his name. Mike Denver in concert with guests Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine at the Millennium Forum, Derry on Saturday, April 23rd. Tickets at the theatre box office. That's Mike Denver in concert at the Millennium Forum with Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine on Saturday,
morning,
April
Nick,
23rd.
At
Not bad at all. Just clearing this out break with you in about 2 minutes.
Trainers makes all the difference. Whether you're running marathons or training for your first 5k, we stock all the leading brands including Asics, Brooks and New Balance with different styles and features to suit individual running needs. Call in store or shop online at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Experience a taste of Italy with the Italian event at Dunnes Stores. Mix and match any 3 for 2 on our new Italian range. Think delicious Italian-made fresh and filled pastas, flavoursome sauces, hand-stretched stone-baked pizzas, and all butter tear and share breads. Buy any 2 products, get the third free. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more, which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used to next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Donegal County Council would like to remind farmers, gardeners and contractors of the need to follow best practice when using pesticide products such as MCPA for spraying rushes, particularly near lakes and rivers used as drinking water sources. Firstly, don't spray if it's windy or rain is forecast in the next 48 hours. Read the product label carefully. Avoid spills, stay well back from open drains and rinse empty containers 3 times into the sprayer before recycling them. Clean water is everybody's business. Donegal County Council, protecting the environment.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Gatwick's back. You can now fly daily to London Gatwick with Aer Lingus, the perfect gateway to explore South London. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Mostly dry today with sunny spells and just a slight chance of an isolated shower. Cloud will increase in the western part of the region with highest temperatures 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. Light to moderate south to southeast breezes. Tonight, clear spells and some isolated light showers. Lowest temperatures 3 to 7. Light to moderate east to southeast or variable winds. Tomorrow, Thursday, sunny spells and isolated showers. Top temperatures 13 to 15 in a moderate to fresh east to southeast breeze. We're going to be discussing sharks in just a moment, but before we do, very quickly, the Florid quiz for this week is giving you the opportunity to win a very substantial in-store voucher. For the details, here's Callus.
To celebrate 5 years in business, Florid Letterkenny are giving one lucky listener the opportunity to win a €500 in-store voucher. To enter, answer the following question. How many years has Florid been in business? Text HI followed by your name and answer to 53131. From Northern Ireland, text 84555. Texts cost 30 cents or the sterling equivalent. The operator's network charge may apply. Lines will close on Friday the 22nd of April 2022. And the winner will be announced on the 9 till noon show on Friday the 22nd of April 2022.
And remember, when you're texting HI, that's the word HI, H-I-G-H. A huge porbeagle shark, the biggest of its kind ever caught off Irish waters, has been landed and tagged off the coast of Donegal. And to discuss the importance and relevance of this, we're joined by Nick Payne, who is a shark biologist and an assistant professor in Trinity's School of Natural Sciences. Nick, good morning.
How's it going, Donal?
Very well indeed, thank you. Nick joins us on Zoom, by the way, so if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can actually watch this conversation as it happens on screen. Nick, put this into perspective. This, we're told, is the largest shark of its kind to be caught off Irish waters. From the point of view of someone who takes an interest, how excited are you about this?
Oh, it was incredible. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I mean, we went up to this area for 2 days on Friday, hoping to maybe catch 1 or 2 of this species of animals. In the end, we caught 2 on the Friday, including this one absolute monster. She was, it was amazing. I mean, as soon as we saw this animal in the water, like all of us were just taken aback by her size and how beautiful she was. It was 2.8 meters long. So we estimate, it's quite hard to estimate the weight accurately of these animals, but based just on length, but at least 400 pounds, maybe upwards of 500 pounds as well. So as far as we know, that's the biggest animal of that species that's been officially measured in Ireland. So it was incredibly exciting for the anglers that we were working with, but also us shark biologists. It was really exciting to see that.
Now, the Irish waters are important for these sharks because there's more and more being seen, but it's important too from the point of view of reproduction and, the propagation of the species.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, so this species, like the European population, is classified as critically endangered. So there's been quite a lot of like over harvesting in the last 100 years or so, particularly since the 1930s. So what we're hoping to see, I mean, there's evidence that in this region in the Northeast Atlantic that maybe the numbers are starting to rebound since the quotas have been dropped back to zero. That's the commercial quotas. So, but there's certainly something pretty important and special, we think, about the Irish coastline for this species. It's been known, like a lot of the local anglers in this area have known for decades, really, that this coastline at a certain time of year sees large numbers of really big, mature female animals. And as biologists, that kind of provides a bit of a hint to us that maybe this kind of location is an important part of their reproductive cycle. So that's a big part of what our research team is trying to set out and learn more about. So we've made a real point of trying to engage with the local anglers and the local fishermen that have all the experience.
And presumably the more
these animals
presumably the more of these animals that you tag, the more information you'll be able to gather about their movements, where they're going, how they're interacting, and that'll give you more evidence upon which to base perhaps future assumptions about the best policy.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly it. Yeah, I mean, like there's been some tagging of these animals in Irish waters in the past, but we're very much at the steep part of that learning curve. So every animal that we encounter, we try to collect as much information from it as we can. So on the weekend, we put 2 different types of electronic satellite tag on these 2 animals that we tag. We also took small blood samples from the tail, which we can then use to examine reproductive status. So we look at hormones and things like that. Of course, we measured the animal. But I mean, yeah, for us, it's really that day on Friday was literally the first day of this new research program where we're collaborating with a lot of local anglers to try and work together to learn as much about these animals as we can.
And presumably local knowledge is something that you're going to be building on, because you'll always be told no one knows the waters better than the local fishers, be they anglers or be they sea fishers. And the more their expertise is brought on board and the more their expertise is used, the more accurate the information you'll have.
100%. And I mean, they're right. They are the experts. They've been fishing these waters for decades and decades, often for generations, you know, and so the knowledge and the help that we get from these folks is just invaluable. And I'd also say too that it's quite, so you can hear from my accent, I'm Australian originally.
I did reach that conclusion already, to be honest. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't been able to hide it just yet. But so like I've been really, it's really encouraging in my time here in Ireland to see that the overwhelming majority of anglers that I interact with really do seem to have the welfare of the animals at heart. So there's almost no landing of animals anymore. Like all the fishermen that target this species as well as other species of sharks, there's a real culture here of catching the animals, measuring it quickly, releasing it healthily back into the water so that it can contribute to reproduction. So not only are we working with these anglers and learning so much about like how to get hold of the animals so that we can do our research, but it's also great to see that there's this increasing culture of catch and release, which I think is really important.
It's perhaps a lazy assumption by a layperson, but I find myself thinking this obviously must be something to do with global warming. I mean, you know, is there evidence to suggest that we're going to see more of the sharks off Irish waters because of changes in water temperatures, because of global warming, or is that sort of a too crude way of looking at it?
I'm not sure that the evidence for that is particularly strong, I must admit. Poor beagles have historically been, you know, this is their natural range. It has been for hundreds, not thousands of years. I think what's more important is the trends in fluctuations of abundances of these animals at our coast, I think are more likely driven by abundances of them in general. So if we're overfishing, then the occurrences tend to decrease. If we cut back commercial fishing or bycatch issues, then we start to see more animals. I think that's the more direct influence, to be honest.
So it's just a coincidence that on the first day of a major research project in Donegal, you find the largest such animal that's ever been tagged off Irish waters.
And not just that, it was Good Friday. So yeah. I think the sun was shining on us that day, that's for sure.
Excellent. Well, it'll be interesting to track the work because, we do certainly, and it seems certainly we've seen more instances in recent years of both shark and whale carcasses being, and sadly more often than not it is carcasses being washed up onto Donegal beaches. But we do have regular sightings of sharks and other large marine animals as well off the Donegal coast. So it'll be good to track the work you're doing, to see exactly what's happening off there. But for the moment, Nick Payne, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Donal. Pleasure.
It's our pleasure. That's Assistant Professor in Trinity's School of Natural Sciences there, Nick Payne, who is part of that project which has seen the tagging of the largest porbeagle shark ever tagged off Irish waters. The animal is between 400 and 500 pounds, estimated to be in the region of 25 to 30 years old. And we'll certainly be following that particular one with interest. Just a couple of comments and questions coming in. A caller asks, is the Donegal International Rally taking place this year? I have heard nothing about it. I can confirm. Yes, the Donegal International Rally is taking part this year. It's taking place, and the dates are the 17th, 18th and 19th of June. So if you are a rally fan, as many people in this county are, put those dates into your diary. The Donegal International Rally is taking place on the 17th, 18th and 19th of June. And I know Oisin Kelly and Seamus McGettigan and many other people will be very, very anxious to get out there again because, those two gentlemen are so committed to the rally, and I know they've missed it over the past while, so it'll be great for Oisin and Seamus, and indeed for the many thousands of rally enthusiasts in this county to see the cars back on the roads again. This is the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. News with Catherine coming up.
Text 086 60 25,000.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
With Donegal's largest selection of pre-owned vehicles, at iMotors we are confident we have your next car. All of our cars come with a 12-month warranty. Come visit our showrooms in Letterkenny or Malin. We have also now extended our opening hours on Saturdays at our Letterkenny showroom from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oakfield Park is now open, with over 100 acres of mature parklands and lush landscapes to explore. Walks, mazes, gardens and sculptures. Take a ride on Ireland's largest heritage railway and refuel in Buffer's restaurant. New to the park is an educational nature centre and a self-propelled rail cart. Oakfield Park, the secret jewel in the heart of Donegal. Open every Wednesday to Sunday, 12 to 6. Visit oakfieldpark.com.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
Are you looking for truly independent financial advice? John F. Lowery Financial Services provides impartial guidance on pensions, investments, savings, deposits and protection, so we can help you prepare and provide for all stages of life. Serving the Northwest for more than 35 years, we are a family-run business and award-winning broker. At John F. Lowery Financial Services, our business is your financial peace of mind. To arrange a personal consultation, visit jfl.ie or call 9124 John F. Lowery and Associates Limited, trading as John F. Lowery Financial Services, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
It's 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Catherine Gaffney. A provisional agreement's in place between Russia and Ukraine to allow 6,000 citizens to leave Mariupol. Earlier, Ukraine accused Russian troops of bombing a makeshift hospital where 300 people were sheltering. If the city falls, it would be Moscow's biggest victory so far. The former British ambassador to Ukraine, Lee Turner, says there's still a chance of further escalation.
Any armed forces will think not once, not twice, but 3 times before ever lowering the threshold under which nuclear weapons are used. So I would very much hope that it will not happen. At the same time, it cannot be ruled out.
Donegal County Council has come under fire over what's been described as a number of missed opportunities to discuss the MICA redress scheme with key influential figures. Special advisor to the Housing Minister, Kevin Dillon, was in Donegal this week where he met with the MICA Action Group and a number of affected homeowners. However, he didn't meet with the council. It follows a visit by the Taoiseach to the county a few weeks ago. Again, a MICA meeting between him and the local authority was not facilitated. PRO of the MICA Action Group, Michael Doherty, says that's disappointing.
Until we have the other scheme up and running, the council really are in full control of this scheme. And, where they're not getting support from the department, they had an opportunity to shout from the rooftops and say so. We then had Kevin Dillon. This man has a lot of sway down there and is dealing with the department every day. Again, it's apparently circumstances beyond the control, but the bottom line for homeowners is that there was an opportunity to represent themselves in front of key influencers, and it didn't happen for the second time in a row, second time in a month.
The Donegal Rape Crisis Centre is seeking volunteers to support clients in the community. The voluntary organisation provides free support and counselling services to both female and male survivors of rape and sexual violence in Donegal. This summer, they're recruiting volunteers aged 25 years and up to support and advocate for survivors in the aftermath of a sexual assault. Manager of the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre, Marina Porter, says volunteers are given full training.
Our volunteers provide court accompaniment to anyone who's going to court, or Garda accompaniment as well if someone wants somebody just to be there for giving a statement. And we do provide full training for all of these positions because we're members of the Rape Crisis Network of Ireland. So it's our CNI training that we provide, and our CNI provide the court and Garda training and also legal information training for people as well.
The Higher Education Minister says there is an obsession in Ireland with leaving cert points and third-level education. Simon Harris says Ireland is now an outlier in terms of the pressure put on young people to go to college, and in doing so, we have devalued trades and other career options. He says we need to move beyond the idea that the only conversation between teachers, parents and their teenagers should be about points in college. And Minister Harris says he believes there can still be a degree of snobbery around not going down the university route.
I think it's a culture we've created in Ireland where it has all been about, I sometimes partially joke to say sometimes the question is tell me the name of the university you want to go to rather than actually tell me what you want to do with the rest of your life, and we'll show you how to get there. I do think we have become a little bit too obsessed with league tables, how many people went to this university from this school, rather than how many people left school happy, well-educated, well-rounded and went on to a career where they played a meaningful, purposeful role in society and led a happy life. That's what it has to be about.
And Dublin Airport has ruled out transferring flights to Shannon Airport as it continues to deal with staffing shortages. But the DAA says the situation has improved, with passengers on short-haul flights now advised to come to the airport up to 2.5 hours before departure instead of 3.5. Media Relations Manager Graham McQueen says suggestions to move flights to regional airports doesn't fly.
If it was that easy to just pick up flights and take them to the regional airports, I think we'd be doing it already. But the fact is, Dublin Airport doesn't compete with Shannon for flights. We compete with the big cities in Europe, your Barcelonas, your Amsterdams. That will remain the case. And look, ultimately, the solution to solving our issues at Dublin Airport that people saw recently is what we're doing. It's hiring more staff.
Weather now. Today will be mostly dry with sunny spells and just a slight chance of an isolated shower. Temperatures of 12 or 13 degrees. That's it for now. We're back with the headlines for you at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning. The obituary notices for Wednesday morning, the 20th of April. The death has taken place of James McNulty, Meanmore Dunlow and formerly of Creasla. His remains will be reposing at the Community Group Home, Meanmore, from 3 o'clock this afternoon, with Rosary at 8 o'clock. Removal tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock, going to St Michael's Church, Creasla, for 6 o'clock, where he will repose overnight. Funeral Mass on Friday morning at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the local cemetery. The death has taken place of Tessie McDade, ní Hegarty, Clonglash, Buncrana, and formerly of Kennygo, Ballymaggan. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. The death has taken place of Annie Teresa McGranahan, ní Morris, 20, Kavanagh Corview, Ballymagori, Strabane. Reposing at her home this afternoon from 2 o'clock. Funeral leaving her home on Friday morning at 9:20 for Requiem Mass in the Sacred Heart Church, Derry Road at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Mary Curie, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Junior Armour, 34, Castle Park, Buncrana. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral leaving there at 10:15 tomorrow morning, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass. Burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. The death has occurred of Stefan Varga and Clochenbeg, Clochen, and Lusnek, Slovakia. Stefan's remains will arrive at the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Succour, Glenfin, at 7 o'clock this evening for reception prayers. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with removal to Lakelands Crematorium for private cremation. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Jim Shields, 17, Ardcolumkill, Letterkenny. Jim's remains will be reposing at his late residence from 2 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:30, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Newlake Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to Good and New Charity, care of any family member. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has taken place of Neil McLaughlin, Alta Shane Carandonna. His remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:15, going to the Sacred Heart Church, Carandonna, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on carandonnaparish.com. The death has occurred of James Gallagher, 8, Gordrush Drive, Omagh, and formerly of Shanahy, Ahiarn. James's remains are reposing at his late home. Funeral from his late home tomorrow morning at 9:30 for Requiem Mass at 10 o'clock in the Sacred Heart Church, Omagh. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Drumra. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. The death has taken place of Marina Friel, ní McCafferty, Beach Hill Care Nursing Home, Fawn, and formerly of 8 Beechwood Street. Marina's remains are reposing at her sister Carmel's residence, 43 Belmont Crescent. Funeral leaving there this morning at 10 to 11 for 11:30 Requiem Mass in St Columba's Church, Long Tower. Cremation will take place afterwards at 3:30 in Lakelands Crematorium in County Cavan. Marina's funeral mass can be streamed live on the church webcam. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to NI Chest, Heart and Stroke, care of the immediate family, or Mr. Kieran Connor, McClafferty Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Jim Armstrong, the Rookery, 16 Racecourse Road, Derry. Jim's funeral will leave from his late home this afternoon at 1 o'clock for Requiem Mass at 1:30 in St Patrick's Church, Pennyburn, followed by interment in the city cemetery. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu to the Royal Belfast Hospital for Sick Children. The death has taken place of John Doherty, Gorty Aragon, Buncrana. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Cockhill, with burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. And the death has occurred of Danny Kit O'Donnell, County Lane, Dunlow, and formerly of Crahy in Manchester. His remains are reposing at his home. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in St Crona's Church, Dunlow, with interment afterwards in Mahary Cemetery. House private on the morning of the funeral. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
This is the second hour of the 9 till noon show. It's Donal Kavanagh on the programme with you until 12 noon today, as the name suggests. Don't forget, if you wish to make contact with the programme, you can text us on 086 60 25,000. You can also use that number for WhatsApp messages. You can call us on 074 91 25,000, 00353 74 91 25,000 if you're outside of the dialing area. And indeed, you can use social media at Highland Radio on Twitter, Highland Hub on Facebook. It's comments at Highland Radio on email if you wish to get in touch with us that way. And then don't forget, of course, you can watch the programme on Facebook and indeed on our YouTube channel as well. Always willing and happy to hear from you, as we always say, and it's the truth. It's your views, your perspectives and your priorities that drive this programme, and they are what make this programme what it is, because as long as we're discussing what you want to discuss, then the 9 till noon show is doing its job. Now, 13 minutes past 10. A lot happening in Donegal actually in terms of film in recent times. Work starting on a big project, a major blockbuster actually in the cinemas at the moment that a lot of people don't realise was partially filmed in Donegal. And we're going to be discussing that very shortly. But before we do anything else, I know there are people out there with books in hand, pencils in the other hand, just waiting to be given their numbers. So if you play NCBI Highland Radio Bingo, grab your books, grab your pencils. I will hand you over to Gavin.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, April 20th. You're playing on the blue coloured sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 16. The numbers are 72, 40, 59, 50, 11, 82, 86, 88, 84 and 25. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 p.m. tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book. Get all your NCBI Radio Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
If I learned one thing in the last year, it's that falling into debt can happen to anyone. Luckily, I heard about the ISI, the Insolvency Service of Ireland. Their professional advisors can help you restructure or even write off your debt. The first thing they said to me was, every debt problem has a solution. I can still feel the relief. So if you're worried, visit their website backontrack.ie or free text Get Help to 50015.
The ISI. Together, we'll get you back on track.
This is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
For confirmation and First Communion, see the great selection of suits, casual wear and footwear at Watson Menswear, Letterkenny. Top brands, including 1880 Club, Lyle & Scott, Farah and Diesel. Also, Tommy Bow footwear, and all at great prices. Whatever the fit, whatever the style, confirmation and First Communions are covered. For less, at Watson Menswear. Open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and at watsonmenswear.com. Also, great end-of-sale bargains still available.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Get up to 50% off everything in store. All kitchen and bathroom tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware, all cladding. Everything's reduced. It's our biggest ever sale. The Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead, are expanding their in-office sales team with attractive bonus schemes and insurance qualifications available. Bursary and study support also provided. Experience in contact centres or insurance services is desirable but not essential, as full training will be provided. Please visit their website at www.forwardemphasis.ie and apply via their careers page.
Thinking of going green? At B&S Credit Union Ballybuffet, it has never been easier. We will help you reduce your energy cost with our lower than ever green loan rate. Available for all home improvements that bring energy efficiency, such as insulation, heating systems and solar panels. Visit bnscu.ie/green loan or free phone B&S Credit Union at 1-800-290-390. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit, Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. It's Donal Kavanagh on the programme with you until 12 noon today. Now, we all remember Paul Mescal from Ordinary People, which showed on our TV screens in 2020. Now, Paul Mescal stars in a film called God's Creatures, a psychological drama, and it has been chosen for the Cannes Directors Fortnight 2022. 24 films in all will be chosen for that particular prestigious event, and it'll give the film a much needed and much deserved boost. And you may be wondering, well, why are we particularly interested in the fact that a Paul Mescal film has been chosen for the Cannes Directors Fortnight? Mainly because God's Creatures was shot in and is based in Donegal. Aidan Doherty is with the Donegal Film Office, and we've spoken to Aidan before. Last time I spoke to Aidan actually was when we broadcast the show from Mallinhead during the May the 4th Be With You event a couple of years back. Aidan, great to talk to you again. Aidan, it's, as I say, great to talk to you again.
Yes, Donal, how are you?
Very well indeed, Aidan. Aidan, you obviously, as the key worker with the Donegal Film Office, will have been involved in getting God's Creatures made in Donegal. Tell us something about the film and about the process that brought us to Cannes.
Okay, so the film was made during lockdown last year in South Donegal, and it is produced by Oscar and BAFTA nominee Fodla O'Reilly. And basically Fodla would have contacted us in the early days when she was out scouting locations. And, at that stage we were competing, I suppose, with the Western Seaboard, and thankfully we were able to provide everything that they required here. And herself, Emily Watson and Paul Mescal were on location in South Donegal for a number of weeks last year. And again, we have the most incredible support from our local community. The real, I suppose, interest from our perspective in Donegal and Donegal County Council is that, this provides a really welcomed economic impact to a small area in a time that was basically everything else seemed to have gone to pot, and we had 72 locals working on the film, and there was an impact locally of about 2.8 million during the time that they were in. So now we are in a situation where yet again Donegal is going to be seen, in a very prestigious place. It's fantastic for the area and it's fantastic for the county that Donegal is being, viewed by people who will be attending Cannes, and that this film has been placed front and centre in what is the most incredible situation regarding the Directors Fortnight. So it's just great. We're so thrilled for them all and thrilled for everybody involved.
And as you say, it's a testament to the fact that Donegal is in a position to provide the facilities, to provide the scenery, to provide, and also to provide the expertise and the backup support as well that's going to be needed, because a film crew just doesn't arrive and plonk itself in a location. It needs supports, it needs help, it needs to have people they can trust locally, and that's something that Donegal is providing as well. What a lot of people may not recognise, though, is Donegal is also featuring in the cinemas at this point in time, because one of the big blockbusters that's showing on the big screens at the moment was part filmed in Five Finger Strand in Inishowen.
That's right. Northman, starring Anna Taylor-Joy of The Queen's Gambit and directed by Robert Edgars, was in for a period of time last year. And, you know, while they were only in for 4 days or 3 days in total, the prep for that obviously starts quite a time beforehand in terms of getting permissions and making sure that you're filming appropriately. And, you know, when you're on a beach like that, a beach of that nature, you need to be very careful in terms of what you're doing. So, but what's fantastic again is Bill Skarsgård has described the Five Fingers as absolutely epic. You know, a quote like that for us is just enormous. You know, and that film has obviously been seen as well, and it's getting great reviews. So every single time something like that happens, you're just going, okay, this is another driver for tourism. It's a driver to get people to come to Donegal, for Donegal to be seen on the big screen. And I think that's the incredible piece about filmmaking in this county, and also that it supports Indigenous industry, and it helps to support our people who are trying to break through into this space. And I suppose one of the things that happened in that regard was that we had a small film called It's In Us All that was filmed again during lockdown at the end of 2020 down in southwest Donegal. It was an Antonia Campbell Hughes film, starring Cosmo Jarvis, who is the sniper in Peaky Blinders. Probably a lot of people will see him. And that was a very small budget film. And it entirely depended on the local people down in that part of the world, and the people in Mahari and down in, you know, the area of all southwest Donegal. They were just incredible, and they wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And that film went on to win a very special jury recognition award for extraordinary cinematic vision in the Austin, Texas SXSW Festival last month. And you had critics like Bobby Lepere from Film Threat Film saying the first thing anybody watching It's In Us All will notice how bloody great it's looking. It is. You know, so yet again, Donegal is positioned in such a way that everybody will see it as this incredible place to come and make films. So it's great in that regard.
Well, we're sitting here talking about what has happened and what's on the screens and what has been filmed, but a very interesting and important one coming up, because we see calls for open casting this coming Saturday in the Tara Hotel in Killybegs for a film called In the Land of Saints and Sinners, and people will have heard of this one because it involves a Northern Ireland born actor who recently starred on a Channel 4 television programme.
That's correct. Yes, Liam Neeson. He did a little cameo on Derry Girls, which I think was exceptionally well received. In the Land of Saints and Sinners actually started shooting in the last couple of days, and you know, again, it's been phenomenal in relation to the lift that the local people have given down there. We have incredible people like Margaret Rose Cunningham and, you know, Glenn Columkill, who just is literally, you know, the person on the ground that assists. And there's other phenomenal people throughout the Killybegs, Kilcar, and Glen Columkill area that are just literally fixers on the ground and who know everybody and who can assist in every way. And they're also, what's really good about Donegal people, Donal, and this is a bit that we are so proud of, is we're very respectful. And we understand the job of work has to get done. And while people are very taken with the fact that Liam Neeson's in South Donegal, you know, they're not putting themselves in the way of causing problems for the film crew or for the set. And that's an incredible thing to be able to say. And the other thing, I suppose, from a Donegal County Council perspective is that because we're decentralised and we're only one of the councils in the country that are, we are able to get in very quickly to the most local people. We're able to find, you know, if there's something needed from a beach management perspective or from a water perspective and from a roads perspective, we have very local people working in a very local way that are able to respond quickly, which is exactly what we need to be doing when it comes to filmmaking. So that open casting call is Saturday. It's in the Tara Hotel. There's details up on all our social media platforms today, and you know the poster has been well distributed, so anybody interested can scan the QR code and be able to get details on that.
Yeah, and the most important thing to know is that you need to be available for shooting in the Kilcar area on the 6th and the 9th of May.
Yeah. And you need to look like you're from the 70s.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah, that's what they're looking for. So, but again, a great opportunity for locals. And, you know, being around all of this is you know, very exciting. There's a lot of standing about, but there's a lot of things to observe. And, you know, what we see sometimes is some of our young people who get on as runners are breaking through. We would get a fabulous girl called Marina Mulhall, who was on God's Creatures last year. She's an incredible woman. She's in Greencastle, and she's really flying the flag for Donegal everywhere she goes, and it's wonderful to have people like her in the industry as well.
And what this is showing us, Aidan, is, every now and again you get the big headline, Liam Neeson in Donegal, and that's going to hit the papers, that's going to be the headline, that's going to be discussed at the water cooler, as they say. But, for every, in the land of saints and sinners, there's a few, it's in us all's being made, there's a few God's Creatures being made, there are other small films that are maybe going under the radar, quietly being made in Donegal, but it's obvious that you and your colleagues in the Donegal Film Office are very, very busy indeed.
We are very busy, actually, and it's funny when you say about some of the other stuff that's going on, probably isn't really brought to the attention of the public, as we do have an awful lot of advertisements, we have an awful lot of car ads, we have an awful lot of pickups, as we call them. There's shops and people might need a small piece of something for a tourism promotion or a marketing campaign, or and there's an awful lot of that we do as well, that we assist on. Sky News have been in various different times around some aspect, or an investigation program, or a documentary, a docudrama, something like that. But so it is busy from that point of view, and I'm very lucky that I have people here in this office, in Sean Canny and Sandra Brennan, who are also involved in assisting in making sure that we've got the quick and sharp turnaround, to be able to respond quickly and effectively to these queries. And I suppose from our own perspective, Donal, we're trying to support the industry as well, through the Regional Cultural Centre and through other initiatives that we're currently developing with Ugaras na Gaeltachta and production companies like the Bothy, to look at what ways that we can sustain the industry here locally, and how we can support our own people in developing content and in developing opportunities for filmmakers in the county. And I suppose one of those opportunities, again, will be advertising next week, which is our Film Office Bursary, which is funded through Creative Ireland. Yeah. We had one last year. James Doherty was the recipient, and we're advertising that again next week. It'll be out in the public domain next week, and there'll be an application process. We were overwhelmed last year with the amount of scripts that we got, and a very high standard of work again, capable, and we just have a small amount of money to support people for to be able to make their films. So, and if we had more money, we could do more. So it's a healthy industry at the moment, and that whole opportunity of film and the creative economy as a driver for economic development is something that we're really interested in ensuring that Donegal is competing and punching above its weight, and we believe at this time that we are.
And we, as you say, there's a lot of interest in the film bursary that's being advertised locally as well, and that's important because it shows that there are people in Donegal are getting involved in film, not only on the acting side but also getting involved in the tech side and the production side, and we see more and more people in Donegal making films, writing films, producing films, and becoming involved at every level of the industry.
Absolutely, yeah, that's absolutely it. And I think that's where we will get our real traction in terms of sustaining the industry. We're constantly competing with obviously other countries and other counties, and I think that we can build our own ecosystem of filmmakers in this county, and we can sustain that, and we develop our own stories, and we develop our own opportunities to get seen. That's where we really will see the benefits to the local community. And we had 72 people on God's Creatures. Local people, which is a great amount of people, and we did a call out for that. There was over 200 people that applied to get on, so that'll give you some understanding of who's out there and who's interested. And increasingly, and I suppose because of COVID, an awful lot of people are looking to get back to living a more, I suppose, quiet life, and they want to create work in their own areas, and that's what we're seeing up the Western Seaboard at the moment. We're connected in with RAP, which is the Western Audio Visual Producers Fund, that would have funded and provided funding for God's Creatures. And that's a huge mechanism that's available, to filmmakers in the Western Seaboard to be able to create work in their own areas, and call-outs for that are happening all the time in terms of supports as well.
Any major projects coming up that you can perhaps give us a quick nod about, something that may be happening in the coming weeks and months? Because I'm sure there's a lot of pre-planning involved in these. It doesn't just drop out of the sky. You're looking well into the future in terms of your planning. Can you lift a lid on anything that's about to happen?
I may be out scouting these days. We'll say no more than that.
Excellent. That's great to hear. Aidan, a pleasure as always to talk to you. Thanks, and thanks very much indeed for that update.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, Donal. Thank you very much.
It's our absolute pleasure. Aidan Doherty there from the...
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Aidan. Thank you. Aidan there from the Donegal Film Office. And it's great to see that there is, this work is going on, and it's going on a lot of the time quietly. And, as Aidan says, she may well be going out scouting, which suggests that there are other potential projects in the offing, and that is great to see. A couple of your comments before we go for a break. Caller says, why is there no mention of Julian Assange by any journalist in the West? One of your own, and you've all turned your backs on him. Amazing, so much for freedom of speech and fair and impartial journalism. It seems now in the West it's the warmongering NATO narrative that is only allowed to be aired. How did you ever allow yourselves to come to this just to be a one-sided echo chamber for them? I now know why the West banned all Russian TV channels from airing here. So says a caller. Another caller says, what gets me about the Ukrainian thing is why did the Irish government not help their own people living on the streets and also the housing situation here in Ireland? How is it possible for Ireland to take in these people when the government can't or don't want to help its own people? So asks a caller. It's 10:30 and we're going to take a short break.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
Sportswear for women at Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure in fresh new colours and styles. Nike Pro tees and vests with matching shorts and fitness tights, perfect for working out or just for that leisure look. Under Armour offers new colours, quarter zip tops, t-shirts with matching shorts in different lengths. Complete your fitness look with the latest footwear from Nike, Asics and Brooks. Look the part, play the part, in store or online. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
There's amazing deals every week at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Great specials in tools, hardware and homeware. If you're a tradesperson or you're doing a one-off job, you'll find everything from power tools to hand tools and paint to work clothing. For great weekly deals and a great selection, visit Watson Hire at Kiltoy, Letterkenny. For more information, visit the Facebook page or see watsonhire.ie.
Kilcar GEA will hold their weekly online bingo again this Sunday at 8 p.m. The jackpot now stands at €10,000. Weekly guaranteed prizes of €1,400 every Sunday. For more details, visit the website kilcargaa.com.
This year in Home Store and More, we've more for your garden than ever before. We've a great range of garden furniture, rattan corner sets, dinner sets, gazebos and much more. We've barbecues, gas, charcoal or smoker, all 33% off. Be warm and cosy with our selection of outdoor heating, also 33% off. And enjoy those longer evenings with our range of solar lights and garden decor. Visit us in store or shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Make your garden your sanctuary. Home Store and More. A happy home.
This is the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. Donal Kavanagh with you until 12 noon. Before we go any further, let's give you an opportunity to win a voucher for Florid in Letterkenny, who are celebrating an anniversary this year. Pay attention to what you hear. This may be important.
To celebrate 5 years in business, Florid Letterkenny are giving one lucky listener the opportunity to win a €500 in-store voucher. To enter, answer the following question. How many years has Florid been in business? Text HI followed by your name and answer to 53131. From Northern Ireland, text 84555. Texts cost 30 cents or the sterling equivalent. The operator's network charge may apply. Lines will close on Friday the 22nd of April 2022. And the winner will be announced on the 9 till noon show on Friday the 22nd of April 2022.
And you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Now, the TUI's annual conference is ongoing. We spoke to the INTO yesterday. It's the Teachers Union of Ireland, secondary teachers today, and delighted to say I'm joined on the line by Joanne Donaghy, who's an executive member of the TUI representing Donegal. Joanne, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How's things?
Things are really good indeed, thank you. Joanne, talk to us about the main issues that are coming up at conference.
No problem, Donal. I'm just say too that I'm in a hotel, so we could have interruptions and the reception's not great if my line drops. But so basically, the main issues are the main issue would be pay discrimination affecting those appointed in 2011 onwards. Now, this has led to a teacher recruitment and retention crisis. There would be two elements to this. So we're looking for the restoration of the PME allowance and the adjustment to the pay scale for new entrants. The money is there to do this because teachers give up their 1% pay increase in February to help their lower paid colleagues. Our colleges, our schools and colleges, of course, were forced to tackle the huge challenges of COVID-19. So that there was a large class sizes, overstretched pastoral care system for students, and the education facilities, which are poorly ventilated and unsuited to modern teaching and learning. We all have kids that have been in those freezing cold classrooms with the coats and the gloves and the hats on. So now the pandemic has brought this gross negligence by successive governments into sharp focus. The process of appropriately funding the education system must begin. Ireland actually would spend the lowest amount out of 36 countries listed in the OECD report on education. So there's major underfunding there. So that would be something we'd be looking for as well. Now, Minister Harris came here was at our conference yesterday, and it was his first in-person appearance at a TUI Congress. So Mr. Harris is the Minister for the Department of Further and Higher Education, Innovation, Research and Skills, a very long name, but I actually work within further ed myself. So he committed to significant increases in funding for further and adult education, so I was delighted to hear that. As you know, further education is a vital part of education in Donegal, and I think we're actually the second largest provider of further education within Donegal. This announcement is very welcome. So basically within further education, we're providing second chance education for many people in Donegal, and I'm sure many of your listeners will hopefully benefit from that as well. So that was kind of some of the issues that came up yesterday. So we're in day 2 of Congress today, so we'll be welcoming Minister Foley today, so we will be. So we'd like her, to commit to the pay discrimination measures that I described earlier.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think a lot of people thought that had been sort of resolved to an extent, because it was a very big issue 2018, 2019, and it seemed to slightly leave. Now maybe the pandemic pushed it out of the headlines, as it were, but you're effectively saying to us that no, this is very much a live issue as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, no, that's correct. We with underbuild momentum, we would be giving up our 1% to address this. And this is kind of what we agreed we'd spend the 1% on. So, we almost have it over the line, but we just need that final confirmation. So we're nearly there, so.
Talk to us about the debate about pay increases to counteract inflation, because we know certainly from what the INTO have been saying, and we assume from what we're hearing from ASTI as well, that they're very much talking in terms of making this a real issue, and they were raising it with Minister Foley. Do you think that's going to become an issue for Minister Foley at your conference as well, that there will be very much a discussion on, well, how are we going to counteract these rises in inflation and the rises in the cost of living?
Well, inflation is a huge problem for every worker in Ireland, so teachers are no different really in that regard. Even filling the car to come down here was a bit of a shock. Like everybody, even when you go to the supermarket and fill your basket now, the cost of living has gone up. TUI and other unions through ICTU do want to engage to negotiate pay increases to take into account the spiraling inflation. So that's kind of where we would be sitting on that. So just the same as maybe every other worker. So.
Yeah. And in terms of, and I put the same question yesterday to INTO, from your own point of view, Joanne, as an executive member representing Donegal, you've done your fair share, I've no doubt, of Zoom calls and online conferences, online meetings. How does it feel to actually finally get back to a real conference and to meet your colleagues face to face?
Yeah, no, it's actually it's been fantastic, and this was my first corporeal Congress, so it's the first time I got to sit up on the executive at the top table. It was a bit daunting, but it's just great seeing everybody again, and there's loads of chats and banter, and I actually was really delighted to meet Minister Harris yesterday, because I actually work in Youth Reach, and he's a great advocate for Youth Reach, and I was chatting to him yesterday and he was thanking us for the work we do. So it's just great to get back chatting to everybody, and there's great support in that too, and people have been through a hard time over COVID. So, that was, I just think it's great for people's mental health and everybody then supporting each other, as well. So, yeah, it's been great.
Joanne, great to talk to you, and continue to enjoy conference, and we wish you every success. Thank you indeed.
Okay, thank you very much. Take care.
Take care yourself as well. That's Joanne Donaghy there. She's an executive member of the Teachers Union of Ireland, and Joanne is at their annual conference, which is ongoing at the moment. Minister Simon Harris there yesterday, Minister Norma Foley coming later today. Okay, we're going to take a piece of music actually. It's 22:11 and... we're in a situation now where the appeals by Armagh were successful. So it now seems that Donegal, having chosen to take their oil, as it were, will be down 2 players. Armagh have had their 3 players restored, and there is a lot of comment as a result of this. Now, I have in studio with me Highland Radio's Head of Sport, Oisín Kelly. Oisín, you're very welcome.
Morning, Donal.
And also joined on the line by Brendan Kilcoyne, who is a GA correspondent with Highland Radio. Brendan, good morning.
Good morning, Donal and Oisín. How are you?
Hi, Brendan.
Oisín, I'm going to go to yourself first. I mean, you know, the big question being asked, and let's cut to the chase. Did Donegal make a huge mistake by not appealing this?
It seems that way now, Donal. This morning that maybe Donegal were wrong not to appeal the referee's report, the results of the referee's report, because this morning they find themselves in a position where they're down a man that would have started the game in Oran McFadden Ferry, and they're down one of the most experienced players Donegal have had, Neil McGee, who could have played a vital role in that game if required. So it's to Donegal's detriment now today that they probably didn't appeal, but at the time, and in fairness to Donegal County Board, they put their full faith and trusted the system that was in place, that's been put in place and has been there for quite a number of years by the GAA, and they put their faith in the system, and the system has let them down. And Brendan was on this morning with me, or on with Owen rather, on the Sport this morning, where he said that it now seems that the process is in total disarray, and with the likes of Conor McKenna from Tyrone to have his appeal coming up now on Thursday following his sending off at the weekend against Fermanagh, there's huge question marks now, Donal, over the appeals process at Croke Park.
Right, well, I have Cathal on the line, and before I go to Brendan, I'm going to bring Cathal on, because Cathal wants to ask the question that I think everyone is asking, and I think, Cathal, you're asking this question in a very stark and interesting way.
Yeah, yes, Donal. The point I make is that there were 4 players cited from Armagh. There were 2 players cited from Donegal. So everyone was fair enough, go ahead. They were all suspended or whatever, their punishment. And as you say, Donegal accepted the punishment and trusted in the system. But I think the system has let them down from the point of view that all 4 Armagh, remember it was 4 Armagh, and there was only 2 Donegal players. So Armagh have got 4 people now who have got off scot-free. So you're saying that 2 Donegal players caused the melee. Well, that's not possible, because it takes 2 teams to create a melee. So, in my opinion, that in fairness and the decision that was made to release them of their suspension, the Armagh people, they should have done the same for the Donegal players, because you can't have a melee with one side only. In other words, 2 players from Donegal are now being blamed for whatever happened, even though it takes 2 sides to create a melee. So in justice and in fairness, there's something badly wrong there.
Okay, Cathal, the question very well put. I'm going to put that to Brendan Kilcoyne. Brendan, you've heard what Cathal said there, and that's a question being asked by many in Donegal this morning.
Yeah, it is, and you can understand that Donegal supporters will feel somewhat aggrieved due to the fact that Oran McFadden Ferry and Neil McGee are now the only 2 players that are suspended for Sunday. But again, you have to remember that this was a technicality that these guys got off, and I understand, that the ref's report cited the 5 players originally, and then subsequently Ryan O'Neill was suspended on video evidence, which was later overturned. But the fact that Armagh decided to appeal their 3 guys has got them off. So listen, there's no doubt about it that, all credibility in relation to the bank, or in relation to the GAA's integrity and disciplinary process has just gone out the window with this whole, it's been absolutely ridiculous the way it's been handled. Now we're 3-4 days out from the game. My understanding is it's too late at this stage for Donegal to now appeal their 2 suspensions. So it is, it's a total mess, and it's something that the GAA are going to have to look at, because it's not just today or yesterday that this whole thing has started, but this takes it to another level, and it just appears that if you have a smart legal team, you can overturn any decision. And, I think this needs to be taken in the context, too, of the referees, who have a really, really difficult job to do. They're on a field with 30 fellas that are doing anything to win the game for their jersey, and, they've enough to watch and they've enough to do. And this kind of, is really a kick in the ass for them, too, from the point of view that, referee sends in his report, he cites certain players, and they're then handed suspensions as a result of that report. And, you know, the fact that these are so easily overturned in subsequent committees, and, you know, that's another thing. With so many committees within the GAA, you have the Hearings Committee, you have the Central Appeals Committee, you have the DRA, you have the Central Competition Control Committee. Like, it really is confusing. Even as a GAA person who's engrossed in it, it's confusing to understand the different steps that are involved here. But this really just, you know, this is the icing on the cake in relation to that. And it leaves Armagh with a really strong hand to play from on Sunday, like, along with that. Now, I know that one of the suspended players, Kieran Mackin, is supposed to be out injured, but they do have two fine players who were missing in Letterkenny that day, Oisin O'Neill and Conor Turbot, who were back. So they're going to be coming with a really strong hand on Sunday to Ballybuffet.
Oisin, from the point of view of Donegal's reaction to this, I mean, one would be very surprised if Donegal ever accepted a referee's report and ever accepted suspensions again, because the message that appears to be coming from here is appeal everything.
Yeah, well, it's not just from Donegal's point of view. Every single county in the country, Donal, this morning is going to be thinking, right, you know what we need to do here? We need to get our legal teams together. Rian O'Neill, for example, I'm sure everybody has seen the videos that was circulating on social media where he seemed to strike out at a Donegal player. But that fell on a technicality, nothing to do with him raising his arm. It was more about the way the video was actually processed. Last night, the three players had their suspensions overturned. What our understanding is the definition wasn't good enough of what came from the referee in relation to contributing to a melee. The players were suspended for contributing to a melee, but how they contributed to the melee wasn't stated good enough, and that's how it was actually overturned. So there's all these technicalities now that are appearing in video evidence, and it's not just at this county level. We've seen it at club level as well in recent years in the Championship with the situation between Niamh Conall and Kilcar. Yeah. So the GAA need to sit down and have a real look at their appeals process system. They need to make it more straightforward. They tried to streamline it by bringing in a hearings committee, a central appeals committee, and then the disputes resolution authority. But why did it fail at the first one and then it was won in the second one, Donal? So questions have to be asked. The GAA have to figure out how they're going to improve their appeals process, because as of now, every single county in the country knows that if they get a good legal team together and move forward, they're in with a real good chance of getting any sort of bans and suspensions and cards overturned.
And the reality is, Brendan, referees are not trained in writing in a legalese way, because I mean, we know, for instance, I mean, there's something of a running joke that Gardaí always say vehicle. Now, the reason Gardaí will say vehicle is, if you say car and it turns out to have been a van, okay, it's gone because you've given an inaccurate description. So, you know, Gardaí are trained over the course of their training in ensuring that their notes and the evidence they will give in a court is going to be structured in a way that is not open to misinterpretation. Now, I mean, are we seriously now saying to referees, you're going to have to adopt a similar approach when you're writing your reports, because if you stick in a wrong word or if you put in a word that we believe is vague, we're going to overturn the whole thing, because that's what we're being told to do by our lawyers?
Yeah, certainly, Donal, that would appear to be the case. And, you know, while you have the top referees at inter-county level, and Oisin referenced club football there, you know, county boards are finding it difficult enough to get referees to ref. There's so many games at club level between underage and senior and junior, intermediate, that to get referees to do these games is difficult enough. And you know, what you find is referees running around maybe twice on a Saturday and twice on a Sunday to referee games is that much of a shortage. So this is certainly not going to make their job any easier. Now, I would like to preface all this, like, you know, myself and Oisin were doing commentary on the game that day in Letterkenny, and, you know, yeah, there was a practice in front of us and all that kind of thing. We all want to see the best players play come championship, so we do. And there's another issue here too, that this was a different competition. This was a league game, and we're now going into championship. So the whole issuance of suspensions needs to be looked at. Like, should that follow on in the league next year, or does it carry the championship? Because that would have been the way it was one time, and that wouldn't have left a certain timeline. For example, if you were sent off next Sunday, the timelines probably wouldn't be there to get you cleared for the next round of the championship. So there's so many issues, so it needs a root and branch review of the whole system here. And yes, the referees need support from the point of view that, you know, it's a really, really difficult job, and, you know, we all give out about referees, but there's not too many of us putting our hands up to do that job. And it's important that we protect our referees, because they're such an integral and important part of the game. And you've all, you know, as I said, you want the best players playing in front of you. Now, the big loser here, Neil McGee, like, he's given so much to Donegal over the years, and, you know, watching the Melee that day, I didn't see him do anything in it, and I saw a few boys doing something, but I certainly didn't see Neil McGee do anything in that, in what was going on. So, you know, it's really unfortunate for the two Donegal lads now, so it is, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and I'm sure they'll be well wired up for the game on Sunday, which promises to be a really tasty affair.
Just a couple of the comments that have been coming in. A caller says that Donegal had the option to appeal and chose not to. Another caller says the system is a joke, it's got no credibility. The panel has effectively sent out a message now that you can attack players on the pitch and nothing will be done. The GAA has become a laughingstock. A caller says the discipline has left the GAA. Either the Donegal players should be put back on or the Armagh players left off. I'm a big supporter. I've really been annoyed by this. And the caller also suggesting that perhaps the ref on Sunday shouldn't be in charge. And another caller says, looks like Armagh won the brawl, they won the appeal, and now they want to make it a hat-trick by winning the match.
Well, that's quite possible, Donal, but I'm sure the Donegal management and the players will be using what's happening going on this week as an extra incentive to go out and win the game and book a place in the semi-final of the Ulster Championship. If you needed, not that Donegal needed any extra sort of G up for the game, but there's a bit of extra motivation, I'm sure, now behind all this, Donal, because it really is a bit of a farce. That's what has happened, and it's left Donegal now missing two players for the championship game this weekend. But there's a squad there, and the squad's going to have to be fully used in the best possible way. Oisín Gallen, as we know, Declan Bonner said yesterday. When Declan did speak, there was no sort of inkling coming that this was going to happen. But Oisín Gallen is going to be missing, along with the two suspended players. And other than that, he's a full deck to choose from. It looks like he's going to need to use all available to him this coming weekend. But there certainly will be a bit of bounce in the step of Armagh as they come to the county. We know that there's big numbers staying in hotels locally in Ballybofey and indeed in Letterkenny as well, and they've got a big boost today. In fairness to Kieran McGeaney, that's a massive shot in the arm for him this morning, Donal, with the likes of those players all being made available again. And it's just hugely disappointing from a Donegal point of view that there's now no option for Donegal in their appeal process, because they turned it down at the start. So they did.
But it'll be a bit more needle perhaps on the pitch as well, and Donegal will certainly go out there with a fire in their belly as well, and they'll go out there with a sense of injustice that they want to see addressed. Yeah,
and I'm sure that fire in the belly will be increasing as the days now count down towards the game on Sunday, which of course will be live on Highland, 2 o'clock throw on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be almost, if not a sold out, McCool Park in Ballybofey for the game, Donal, and you can tune Highlands Way, and you'll not miss the action here, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Oisín Kelly, Head of Sport on Highland Radio, Brendan Kilcoyne, GAA correspondent. Thank you both indeed for speaking to us this morning.
Thanks, Donal.
Thanks, Donal.
All ready for next year? Why not make sure of it with SEAT? Trade up to a 221 SEAT SUV and you'll be offered PCP finance from 1.9% and a 3-year service plan for just $9.99 a month. With the bold new Arona, the stylish new Ateca, or the outstanding 7-seater Tarraco, we're all ready. Are you? Trade up to your 221 SEAT SUV at DMG Motors, Claw Road, Donegal Town. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland, trading as SEAT Financial Services. Subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit seat.ie/221 for further information.
Inflation-busting offers from Lidl are helping families across Ireland with incredible value on their weekly shopping.
Value for money and quality, definitely. They've won me over. It definitely makes a difference for family shop. I'm a convert.
Inflation-busting offers at Lidl. More for you. Customers were paid a gratuity for their time.
This is your guide to smart glasses. Smart glasses often look like regular glasses, and some of them have built-in cameras. Even if you don't wear smart glasses, it's helpful to know what it looks like when someone who is wearing them is taking a photo or video. One way someone can activate their camera is by tapping the capture button on the frame. Another way is by using a voice command, like,
take a photo.
So now you know a bit more about smart glasses.
A message from Meta and SELR Luxottica.
This Saturday, Paul McDevitt will be live from Homeland Letterkenny for their Garden Super Saturday Series Finale. Learn all about growing your own from Homeland Garden Centre staff and special guest garden expert Marie Lafferty. With great offers like buy 2, get 1 free on veg, 20% off seeds. You could even win a medium veg pod worth €350. All happening this Saturday at Homeland Letterkenny's Super Saturday Garden Series Finale.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. This summer is going to be one of the busiest ever. Check out our summer flights to European cities such as Barcelona, Cologne and Milan with Ryanair. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
Mostly dry with sunny spells and just a slight chance of an isolated shower cloud increasing later on in the afternoon. Top temperatures 12 to 15 degrees Celsius, light to moderate south to southeast breeze. Tonight, clear spells with some isolated light showers. Lowest overnight temperatures 3 to 7 degrees Celsius, light to moderate east to southeast or variable winds. And tomorrow, Thursday, it will be sunny spells and isolated showers. Top temperatures 13 to 16. Again, a moderate to fresh east to southeast breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. Sorry, it's not Highland Radio News. That's just an automatic thing I say after reading the weather forecast during the news. It is time for Highland Radio News, and we say good morning to Catherine Gaffney.
Thanks, Donal. Good morning. A provisional agreement's in place between Russia and Ukraine to allow 6,000 citizens to leave Mariupol. Earlier, Ukraine accused Russian troops of bombing a makeshift hospital where 300 people were sheltering. If the city falls, it will be Moscow's biggest victory so far. Donegal County Council has come under fire over what's been described as a number of missed opportunities to discuss the migrant redress scheme with key influential figures. Special advisor to the Housing Minister, Kevin Dillon, was in Donegal this week where he met with the MICA Action Group and a number of affected homeowners. However, he didn't meet with the council. The Donegal Rape Crisis Centre is seeking volunteers to support clients in the community. The voluntary organisation provides free support and a counselling service to both female and male survivors of rape and sexual violence in the county. The obsession with the Leaving Cert certificate and the points race here is causing fear and anxiety in our young people. That is the view of the Minister for Higher Education, who says there is still a snobbery in Ireland around third level. A number of initiatives are currently being developed to support the film industry in Donegal. The Donegal Film Office at Donegal County Council is currently working in conjunction with Uthras na Gaeltachta in a bid to support and sustain the local industry further. 8 monuments in Donegal are set to benefit from over €300,000 in funding under the Community Monuments Fund. The fund is an initiative by the National Monument Service of the Department of Housing and Local Government. And Dublin Airport has ruled out transferring flights to Shannon as it continues to deal with staffing shortages. But the DAA says the situation has improved, with passengers on short-haul flights now advised to come to the airport up to 2.5 hours before departure instead of 3.5. That's it for now. We're back with another update for you at 12 noon.
Let's call out his name. Mike Denver in concert with guests Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, April 23rd. Tickets at the theatre box office. That's Mike Denver in concert at the Millennium Forum with Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine on Saturday, April 23rd.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment. All have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney and Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney and Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Flanagan's massive half-price store clear-out sale is now on in Buncrana. There's 50% of Irish-made sofas, tables, beds, wardrobes, rugs and occasional furniture. Pay today and take it away. See flanagans.ie.
Every year, about 2,800 people in Ireland get bowel cancer. Bowel screening helps find signs of cancer before symptoms start. If you're aged 60 to 69, you can register today for a free bowel screen test kit. Once you've taken the test at home, return it by free post and we'll test your sample for levels of blood. If you need any more tests, we'll let you know. Register today at hse.ie/bowel screen or free phone 1-800 45 45 55. From the HSE.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
COVID-19 can still cause serious illness, especially in people at higher risk. We need to keep protecting each other. So stay home if you have symptoms. Wear a mask in healthcare settings, public transport, and busy places. Let fresh air in if you're meeting indoors. Keep hands clean. And get a COVID-19 vaccine and booster. Let's keep looking out for each other. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
It's 6 minutes past 11 on a Wednesday, and that means it is time for our Wellness Wednesday slot. Just before we go to the slot this morning, just two comments with regards to the GAA situation. A caller says the GAA committee is a joke. Video evidence shows what happens in Letterkenny. However, Armagh somehow got their bans overturned. It shows a lack of respect for referees. Let's get behind Donegal on Sunday with the flags out and show a large Donegal support. Another caller suggesting Donegal just play the two suspended players, and if there's any punishment, well, go the legal route. Perhaps, I'm not sure Declan Bonner would be doing that now. I think that would be a step too far, but an interesting prospect nonetheless. Now, today on Wellness Wednesday, we are talking about Alzheimer's. There are an estimated 2,451 people living with dementia in Donegal, and each year more than 11,000 people develop the disease across the country. That's at least 30 people every day. Now, after 2 years, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland is inviting people to come together again for a cup of tea and a chat and perhaps a treat or two on Thursday, May 5th, to help raise funds for vital dementia support services. Now, I'm joined on the line by two people. First of all, Carol Malloy, who's the interim operations manager with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland for the North West, North East and the Midlands. Carol, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well indeed, thank you. And Carol, that's one big area to cover, the North West, North East and the Midlands. I mean, I'm sure you're racking up the mileage at the moment.
I am indeed. It's a large area to cover, but we have a great team working with me, which makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and it must be good too, though, to be able to get involved in organising face-to-face events and organising things like the cup of tea and the chat and so on and so forth, because particularly with Alzheimer's, that personal touch is so important.
It's so important, and it's been so difficult over the last few years with COVID and the restrictions that we've all been under, but it's brilliant now that we're able to launch our tea day again back face-to-face. And invite people to hold their own tea days around the county and also around the whole country, get people chatting again, get people out and about, getting people to socialise. And as you say, it's very important for those people suffering with Alzheimer's, that they just to have that social and personal interaction.
Also joined on the line this morning by Evelyn Gallagher. Evelyn, good morning.
Good morning, Donal.
Evelyn, your own story. Your mother sadly passed away last year, but did have Alzheimer's for the final years of her life, but was able to live a full life with assistance from yourself and from others.
Yes, that's right. Well, she had dementia for quite a long time in her early 80s. And, but she lived a big age. She was almost 97, But for the last year, she was confined to a wheelchair, which was difficult during the COVID. But, we had great support from the Alzheimer's during that time, and she had her daycare and, it was great support from them altogether.
But you're also saying that one of the really important things with your mother was the fact that she didn't stay at home. She would go out and socialise. She'd go out to the hotel. She'd go out and meet people. And, she didn't just get locked away somewhere. She was very much out there in the community.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, she didn't know to go out there. You had to get her ready and take her out. But, yeah, it was so good for her, but staying at home in her own home for so long. And then she was with me for 14 years then. And I'm so glad I'd do it all again, I'd do it all again.
Yeah. Well, it is always great to know that you were able to give your mother, or to give a loved one, the best possible care in the final years of their lives. And Carol, I'm sure the story we're hearing from Evelyn is one that's replicated right across the region and indeed the country.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's so important, that people have that support and they're able to get out and about in the community and use the services that we can offer to them. We can provide services to people in their homes, but we can also provide services by the way of social clubs and cafes and interactions. It's just so important to keep people's minds active and to keep them active in the community.
Do we underestimate people that are dealing with Alzheimer's, that because they have perhaps memory loss, or because they don't necessarily recognise the people that they are talking to, we fail to appreciate what they do know? Because we've all heard the stories, and I'm sure you see this all the time, of people who perhaps aren't able to have a conversation with someone in front of them, but will immediately recognise a song, or will immediately recognise maybe something they see on TV, and they'll recognise, someone they meet from 15 years ago, and they'll be able to interact with people. They may not necessarily know who it is that they're speaking to, but they'll certainly appreciate the music, they'll appreciate their surroundings.
Oh, definitely. It's very important, I suppose, as you say, to keep the mind active and to help them reminisce with the memories that they have, and remembering people and reminiscing, and definitely the social aspect keeps their minds alert.
Evelyn, from your own point of view, as you say, you had your mother in your home for the last years of her life, and she was speaking to you, I'm sure, and some of the time what she was saying will have made sense, and maybe some of the times she was telling stories that may have sounded disconnected. But it was also important, I'm sure, from your point of view, to be there to listen and to be there to allow her the opportunity to tell her stories, however disjointed they may have sounded.
Absolutely. You have to listen with the ears of your heart. And I think that caring for that person with Alzheimer's is about nurturing what's left rather than looking at what's lost, And, she told some funny stories, all right. And
I'm sure, she was able to bring you such joy by telling those stories, and, by sharing those stories, and even, in the pain of perhaps, knowing that your mother was sitting in front of you and didn't necessarily know immediately who you were, but the fact that she was still able to share those stories with you, and you were able to connect with her through her history and through her life, that was inevitably going to bring you closer to her.
Oh, yes, and she did actually know the family, or the faces, she and she knew your name because I was working with her all the time, but, you would place pictures and tell her all about how important, how important all the things she did and how special they are. That's what I was telling her, and, never let them forget how special they were, because that generation were and are special,
Absolutely,
really.
yeah. And I think actually the phrase you've just used there is a phrase I'm going to file away and remember and use myself. You listen with the ears of your heart. I think that's an absolutely gorgeous phrase. I hadn't heard that one before, and thank you for that, Evelyn, because it's an absolutely lovely way of putting it. And Carl, I'm sure you'd agree that if we listen with the ears of our heart, we'd all be a lot better off.
Oh, yes,
absolutely.
And caring for them also, it's not about just, it's beyond feeding and dressing and toileting. It's, they have so many needs: nature, music, exercises, spiritual issues. You have to just treat them so special.
And I'm sure, Evelyn, too, it's finding the balance between, obviously there's going to be daycare, and there's going to be medical care, and there's going to be appointments, and you have to, almost be a secretary in terms of organising all that and coordinating all that. But it's that personal touch as well, and it's finding the mix between the medical care and the physical care, but also, as you said, the personal care, the family care, and the spiritual care as well, which to many, many people is very important indeed.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. She was an incredible lady. It's so sad to see it all being lost, all the common sense and all the stuff. that she was capable of.
But there was still life in her eyes, and there was still a light in her eyes, and there was still joy in the stories that she was telling, and I suppose we have to hold on to that.
Oh, absolutely.
And Carol, very, very important, I'm sure, from your point of view, you know, we spoke there about the balance between, on the one hand, the medical care and the, you know, the physical care and the work being done, and there are carers out there that do such wonderful, important work. But to meld that with the physical, the personal, and also the spiritual, you know, very important that balance is found. You can't really have one without the other.
Oh, definitely. And like, you know, we have to give, you know, praise to those, the carers that are out there every day providing the care to those, you know, whether it be in their homes or whether it be in daycare centres. Amazing people that do that work. But yeah, I mean, you know, we would look at each person like individually, and there'd be a personal tailored sort of care plan for that person, depending on their interests and depending on their, you know, their needs. And it's not necessarily, as you say, just from a medical point of view. You know, it's a lot about like their history and what about their lives and about their interests and about what they want to do, and what they're still able to do. So we would, we would have a personal tailored plan, you know, when we're looking at a care plan for each person.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow week, Thursday, May 5th, is the day when the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland is urging people to come together for a cup of tea and a chat, and tell us more about that initiative.
Yeah, so Tea Day now, thankfully, is back face to face. As I said before, the last few years with COVID, we weren't really able to do the face to face meetings. So now we're inviting people to come along, hold their own tea day in their homes or maybe their local community centres, maybe in their gardens if we're lucky enough to get a nice day. And people can register then on teaday.ie. We send them out like a kind of organiser's toolkit, if you like, and they get their posters and collection boxes and everything they need to make their tea day successful. And the idea behind it is to share a cuppa, share some stories, you know, reconnect with people, get back to being social again with people, and obviously try and raise a little bit of funds to help the Alzheimer's Society.
And Evelyn, I'm sure you'd be urging people to take part in this and to tell stories. And I've no doubt you'll be telling stories on that day yourself about your own mum and about the wonderful times that you shared.
Absolutely, and I'd say to everyone to go on to the website www.t.ie to register, and if they can't get that done, to contact Monica McElhenney on 087 353 9775 and to get out and, you know, and if you can't get out, donate to that cause, because it's much needed funds. You know, they really need all the help they can get. And I have another dance coming up. I wonder, should I mention
absolutely,
it?
Absolutely, Evelyn, mention it away.
Well, it's another, after the Tea Day, the next big event, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland in Donegal. I'm having a dance on the 4th of June, on Saturday the 4th of June, in the Clanry Hotel. Compare with your own country boy, Tommy Rosney, and the backing band, Percy Robinson, John McHugh, Damien Duffy, and Gary Porter. Special guests, Hugh McLean, the Envoy Showband, Malcolm Fisher, Amy Meegan, Anne Biddy, Hilary Ann Hetherington, Eddie Gallagher, and the Country Kicker line dancers. And it's some great sports prizes donated by Dry Arch, Liberty Travel, Arena 7, Ben Sweeney, and the Clanry Hotel. And the tickets and posters were kindly sponsored by Brown Printers. So I know times are hard, money's tight, but I would advise people to get out. Not will they be supporting everything, but they'll also be hearing some great music and singers on the night.
Well, fair play to you, Evelyn, for getting that out, and we thank you indeed for speaking to us this morning, and fond memories of Ellen Nellie O'Donnell, your mum, who passed away last year, as you say, almost 97, and wonderful to know that the last years of her life she had your love to succour and to nourish her, and thank you indeed for speaking to us. Carl, final word to yourself from the point of view of Tea Day in 2 weeks' time. You know, the most important fundraising event of the year for the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, and you're saying to people, look, it's the first chance you've had to do this in a couple of years now. Please avail of it.
Definitely use the opportunity now to get out and socialise and help a really good cause.
Carl, thanks you indeed very much indeed for speaking to us as well. That's Carl Malloy, who's the Interim Operations Manager with the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, and Evelyn Gallagher, of course, who joined us and told her personal story as well. Thank you both very much indeed.
There's amazing deals every week at Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Great specials in tools, hardware and homeware. If you're a tradesperson or you're doing a one-off job, you'll find everything from power tools to hand tools and paint to work clothing. For great weekly deals and a great selection, visit Watson Hire at Kiltoy, Letterkenny. For more information, visit the Facebook page or see watsonhire.ie.
Walk the line once again with the multi-award winning Johnny Cash and June Carter tribute show Cash Returns. Celebrate the music of the Man in Black at the Ballard Arts Centre Ballybuffet on Saturday 23rd of April. Limited tickets are available now at the box office. That's Cash Returns live at the Ballard Arts Centre Ballybuffet Saturday 23rd of April.
Interested in investing but concerned about the risks? At Bank of Ireland, we can tailor a plan that gives your money potential to grow over time at a risk level that's right for you. We know you've worked hard for your money, and with our expert support, it can work harder for you. So don't rest it, invest it. Visit bankofireland.com, explore investing. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Ireland is a tied agent of New Ireland Assurance Company plc, trading as Bank of Ireland Life for life assurance and pensions business. Members of Bank of Ireland Group. Bank of Ireland trading as Bank of Ireland Insurance and Investments is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
For a huge selection of furniture, all at one showroom, pull into Grow Furnishings in Letterkenny. Sofas, beds, wardrobes, tables and chairs. Also a range of carpet, vinyl, rugs and laminated flooring. If it's time for a change, it's time for a visit to Grove Furnishings. Grove deliver throughout Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. Be inspired at Grove Furnishings, Kiltoy Road, Letterkenny.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team at BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177 955.
It's the 9 to Noon show on Highland Radio. Our sponsors this week are Florit in Letterkenny. They're giving you the opportunity to win an in-store voucher to be spent in store, which in-store vouchers are for. So that's, I know I'm stating the obvious there. But for details on how you can win that voucher and a little bit more about what's on offer, let's go over to Cass.
To celebrate 5 years in business, Florit Letterkenny are giving one lucky listener the opportunity to win a €500 in-store voucher. To enter, answer the following question. How many years has Florit been in business? Text HI followed by your name and answer to 53131. From Northern Ireland, text 84555. Texts cost 30 cents or the sterling equivalent. The operator's network charge may apply. Lines will close on Friday the 22nd of April 2022. And the winner will be announced on the 9 till noon show on Friday the 22nd of April 2022.
We know that work is ongoing on the 4-lane road between the Polestar and Dry Arch roundabouts in Letterkenny, and things are moving into a new phase from tomorrow. And for about a 9-day period or so, there'll be some disruption on the outbound lane from the Polestar out toward the Dry Arch. Work is starting to begin on resurfacing of both outbound lanes. Now, Donegal County Council say it will be done on a phased basis with both day and night working. And we're joined on the line by Councillor Donal Coyle. Donal, good morning.
Good morning, Donal. How are you?
Very well indeed, thank you. Councillor Coyle, you obviously would represent people in that area, and you've been keeping a very close eye on progress on the 4-lane. It's significant what's happening, because we are, it seems, sort of moving into the end game in this process.
Well, I wouldn't actually say that yet, but maybe the end game on one side of the 4-lane, you know. That's the outbound lanes. You know, I suppose people are wondering, like, you know, why it's taking so long and whatever. But now, you know, over the next week or so, one of those outbound lanes will be closed to traffic. In other words, there'll be only one lane open to traffic for a week, and that is due to the resurfacing of those two outbound lanes. Over the period of 1 week. It will cause some disruption, but hopefully, you know, people will then see they will have a good road it'll be finished to a very high spec, up to just there will be 40 mil left to be put on when the whole job is before the job is complete. Yeah.
The other important thing is that hopefully once the road is resurfaced, the road will be relined, and we know that the lining on the road has been an issue for some people, and there were times when it was confusing. There were times when people were having difficulty actually figuring out exactly what the lining was. So it'll make it a lot more clear for people when those lining issues are addressed.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like, I mean, you know, the total confusion there for a long time because of old lines. Also capsize and what have you, and even the state of the road. So look, you know, it's great to see this progressing as it is, and also, like, you know, the cycle lane and the pathway on out between the two roundabouts will be complete as well. And then, of course, you see the work then will be transferred then to the unbound lanes then, because there will be a new footpath and a cycleway onwards as well.
Yeah.
You know.
We are still then, it would appear, and we know the council was talking about having all this complete by hopefully August. I mean, are we still on track for that, do you believe?
I would imagine it might be September, Donal, at this stage, you know. September, I think now, that was the last that I heard, like, you know. So, look, it would be good if it was finished by September, like, you know. And that's work now over the following week, like, you know. People will actually see, you know, what's happening. And, look, you know, it is progress. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
And it is an interesting. I mean, it's been difficult sort of to envisage what it's going to be, because we don't necessarily see what's happening along the sides, and, you know, in terms of the central reservation and things like that. Now, one of the questions that I've been asked by a lot of people is, you know, are those concrete barriers on the central reservation being replaced? And my understanding is they are. They are. Yeah.
There will be eventually, like, yeah, and that'll probably be one of the last parts of the project. It'll be something similar to what you see, you know, on you know, going to Dublin there in Monaghan, and I would imagine it's something in line like that.
Yeah.
You know. No, those barriers there. So goodness gracious, they take up an awful
Absolutely,
lot.
they do, and that's one of the points to be made. Is that people are asking, you know, will the lanes be wider when this work is done? And the answer is obviously yes. I mean, they are going to be wider, but the speed limit is still going to be, we understand, it's 60.
Yeah. The speed limit at the minute is 50, like, you know, and a lot of people, to be honest, like, find it very difficult, like, you know, to stay below the 50. I think 60 would be a reasonable speed limit out there, you know, in fairness, yeah.
So there's going to be some, as you say, it's going to be one lane at times going out that road. Now, I mean, one can certainly see a situation develop where if it's just one lane of traffic, that's going to lead to some potential jams, and indeed it could lead to some traffic build up around about the Polestar roundabout as well, and potentially the Dry Arch as well, but particularly I suspect the Polestar, as people are trying to get out of town. So maybe an idea for people who are travelling out that road, just to be aware that this work is going on in the coming sort of 9 days as of tomorrow, and just allow extra time for that journey. Expect a few hold-ups, particularly if you're driving. If you're going down, say, coming in from the Remelton Road, Arena 7 direction, and you're going to be turning left, we could well see a bit of traffic build up. We can see it there anyway, but we could see a bit worse than usual for a few days. So just be aware that that's going to be the situation.
Yeah, I would ask people, like, to be patient, like, you know, and look, you know, the end result is going to be a wonderful piece of road going out to the Dry Arch, and you know, when the whole job is complete, it will be. It will be a great landmark coming into the town, without a doubt. Yes.
No, we know, and a lot of people were asking about the work that was done just beside the Clanree there. There was an awful lot of work done. I understand it's to do with water and drainage and so on. Can you throw some light on that work that was done just sort of between the Clanree Hotel and the Dry Arch roundabout?
Well, look, you know, this is what was happening there, Donal, is what's known as an attenuation pond. It's where all the water, you know, and surface water and drainage are gathered into one area. You know, as you might be aware yourself, looking at it, when there was heavy rain out at the roundabout there at the Dry Arch, you know, there was a lot of flooding around that area. So hopefully now this will relieve it. As well as that, look at you know, the entrance into the Clanree and that, look, it'll be much improved. And like, I mean, that was always a fairly sharp corner there at the roundabout coming down from Lurgy Black. So look, you know, all of this, look, it will add to the safety. To the safety of for people, yeah.
Well, I can tell you, as someone who occasionally will walk out Leck and then walk back in past the Clanree into town, I mean, yeah, there were times in the past where you were walking through fairly large puddles. At one point, you were nearly wading through a lake. So, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people will appreciate that. Councillor Donal Coyle, thank you very much indeed for just giving us that update on the situation.
Thank you very much, Donal.
Thank you indeed. And that work starting tomorrow. So that work as of tomorrow, work on the outbound. That's the resurfacing of the outbound lanes on the 4-lane between the Polestar and Dry Arch, which effectively means it's going to be down to one lane. And just be aware that there may be some traffic jams as a result of that. Just give an extra bit of time for the journey and just get some good sounds in the car. Sit back and relax.
Let's call out his name. Mike Denver in concert with guests Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine at the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, April 23rd. Tickets at the theatre box office. That's Mike Denver in concert at the Millennium Forum with Philomena Begley, Ray Lynham and Brendan Shine on Saturday, April 23rd.
Love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life, says old Mr. Brennan. That's why our family pan bakers make such great tasting bread. Is that so, says I? Well, put it like this, says he. It is Ireland's favourite slice pan. But it's not just the taste, it's the pure satisfaction you get from our famous bread, baked fresh each and every morning. However you slice it, anything baked is better with Brennan's. Today's bread, today.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
Are you ready? Yes, Chris. Question for £1 million is, what do Crawford tiles do? Is it A, tiles, B, wooden flooring, C, bathroom suites, D, 5-day bathroom refits? All four. You've just won £1 million! Well, not really. After taxes, you lose a bunch of money, but hey, whatever. Crawford Tiles, Castlefin, 07491 43942.
Táint géim fiolóteach an income bonúsach na halína oscailt inis. Dalíntóirí is stibrethes na halína cruthaíocha. Beidh 2,000 íortasóir ag fáil €350 ta teachtain, thar 3 bliana, chun díriú a gard. Rialtas na Herin, las na nalín, ag taú leis an grothaíocht. Ola's at gov.ie/income bonúsach.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
It's Wednesday afternoon. It's the final half hour of the programme, which means Business Matters with Kieran O'Donnell coming up very shortly indeed. Just a few of your comments before we go any further. Caller says, I have a grandson who's only 2 months old and is very wheezy this past few days. I rang a GP, but the GP can't see him until Friday. It's really worrying what's going on at the moment. Another caller says, so funny, I just wrote down that saying too. It's beautiful, lovely lady. I suspect that's a reference to a phrase that Evelyn used in our conversation there about Alzheimer's, where she said, you listen with the ears of your heart, which I thought was just a lovely, lovely phrase. Back to GAA again, and caller says, why did the Donegal team not appeal the suspensions? It's a disgrace. The Armagh team won the appeal. Armagh will definitely win the match now. Why did they accept the ban? I'm not sure Armagh will definitely win the match. I mean, Armagh perhaps are in a stronger position than they might have been, but I'm sure Declan Bonner and his charges will have something to say about that, and they will be going all out to ensure that the outcome is not the outcome that our caller is suggesting is inevitable. Caller says teachers should be better paid, but they should forego the long holidays and adjust school hours to meet the needs of modern working parents. That's a view of one of our contributors. I'm not sure it's a view that will find widespread support among the teaching fraternity and sorority. The caller says, does anyone know if Winning Streak is coming back on the air? It's still off for the foreseeable future. According to the latest RTE article, I have to be honest, I know nothing about Winning Streak and hadn't noticed anything about it. Caller says, is anyone else having problems with their TV in Letterkenny? We've had no signal for the past 3 days. We're wondering, is anyone else experiencing this? It's not via Sky, it's just the ordinary channels, which I presume is Preview. Now, I must be honest, like a lot of people, I don't think I've used a Freeview or a Serview service for years. We do have a Sky box, and pretty much all my viewing is done via the box, so I couldn't comment. But if anyone can throw any light on, I know someone was asking last week actually about potential problems around about the Manor-Cullingham area. So if anyone can give us any perspective on that, please do let us know. Caller says, my friend was severely struggling with her mental health. Despite reaching out to her local GP and other support services, she would have to wait 4 days to talk to someone. I want to know, why is this happening despite the many fundraising efforts we see continuously? And another caller asking, how can we decide to allow in many Ukrainians when there are people seeking refuge all over the world? Can we honestly say we have made the same effort when it was Syrian refugees? Why is this? And that's an interesting question that we'll put out there on behalf of our caller. Now, it's 24 minutes to 12 noon, and as I intimated earlier, it is time for this.
Business Matters in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. Looking for a career in financial services? Consider the Level 9 MA in Governance, Compliance and Data Protection. Take the next step in your career and contact the Exec Ed Coordinator on 9186206 or email execed, execed @lyit.ie today.
It's always a pleasure doing the show on a Wednesday, actually, because I get to say good morning, Kieran O'Donnell.
Good morning, Donal Kavanagh.
Pleasure to talk to you as always, Kieran. A busy little slot to get through today with some very interesting and important news, and we begin with words that will always bring a little some joy to my heart. A food starter course.
I never thought of it like that, Donal,
food and starter are two words that, I can go with this. Tell us more.
Yeah, Donegal's local enterprise office is holding a food starter course for people planning to open their own food business. The course, which will be delivered via Zoom in the form of 4 half-day workshops, gets underway on Monday, April 25th at 9:30am. The objective of the course is to provide participants with the base knowledge of what is involved in setting up a food business. The programme includes 4 hours of one-to-one mentoring for each business, and the cost per participant is €100.
Interesting one, and there is so much emphasis being put on food businesses around Donegal and the northwest and further afield at the moment, and it can also be a minefield between the inevitable health regulations, which of course are hugely important, and so on. So yeah, there is a lot to know about that, and great to know that expertise is available through the LEO. The head of the Alpha Innovation Centre has been announced, and this is going to be a very important project into the future.
Yeah, Inishowen native Kevin Sexton has been appointed as Head of Innovation for the new Alpha Innovation Centre in Letterkenny. This new innovation centre will see the development of a 7-storey purpose-built high-tech workspace facility in the town centre, and it will be capable of hosting 200 people, and with pre-accelerator programmes for early idea owners and startups at the heart of its operations. Kevin is currently employed as an innovation evangelist with Bearing Point, a multinational management and technology consulting firm headquartered in the Netherlands. And as you say, Donal, that's going to be an exciting project when it gets up and running for Letterkenny and indeed Donegal.
And this, for anyone who's wondering, this is the project essentially in the old ESB site, so it stretches really from the Port Road right back to Pierce Road. There's a back gate on Pierce Road that leads up to it, and then Port Road, where the old, those of us of a certain age will actually remember going in there to pay our electricity bills many years ago.
That is great. As across from my old office and the Donegal Democrat offices, actually.
I remember when the People's Press office was just across the road there, all right. And that's going to be, and then the drawings look really good, so that's going to be, and I think that could be one of those, it's a phrase I'm not very fond of sometimes, but when you say a game changer for Letterkenny, I think this could very much be one of those. The Leo office again, Kieran, a Grow with Confidence event.
Yeah, the Leo office in Letterkenny is the venue for the Grow with Confidence event being organised by the Donegal Women in Business Network on Monday, April 25th. The aim of the event is to inspire female entrepreneurs to grow and develop their businesses with confidence. The event gets underway at 6 p.m. and registration is €10. And more information on both of those Leo events are available on their social media platforms.
Donegal Airport, we spoke yesterday to Eilish from the airport. Important news with regards to funding.
Yeah, you touched on that yesterday. I heard your interview. Donegal Airport is to receive €722,100,000 in exchequer funding to contribute towards capital investment in the areas of safety and security and sustainability. The funding is part of a £16.4 million package for regional airports, and part of Donegal Airport's allocation has been earmarked for the installation of a solar electricity system.
Looking at some national figures, Kieran, and it seems certainly the retail business is back when you compare card spending this year compared to card spending in 2021.
Yeah, it's a few months back that they're referring to. Donal. Total card spending, including ATM withdrawals, was up 30% in February compared with the same month last year as consumers headed back to the shops following the lifting of COVID-19 public health restrictions. So overall, people spent or withdrew 1.6 billion more than the previous year. That's according to new data from the central bank. The increase was driven by in-store spending, which rose by more than €1 billion or 51%. Compared to 3.1 billion. So a lot of money and a lot of card spending, though.
Yeah, and it's important because, I mean, you know, initially I would certainly say I've been tapping a lot more than I would have done because and a lot of people think I've almost not stopped using cash, but people are using a lot less cash. But this covers withdrawals and tapping. So it isn't as though the figure says, oh, yeah, well, that's because we're tapping since COVID. I mean, you know, this covers both the withdrawal and the tapping.
Yeah, it's covering the spending trends, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's good to see because, I mean, you know, the retail sector took one hell of a hit, let's be honest, between 2020 and into early 21. So it is good to see that. Let's talk about the podcast, because the Business Matters podcast has become one of the important elements of Highland Radio's kind of off-air offerings. And this week you're joined by a very interesting guest.
Yeah, this week, Donal, I'm joined by Ian Harkin, co-founder and managing director of Lottie Dolls and chairperson of Finn Harps Football Club. A native of the Twin Towns, Ian studied accountancy and business at LYIT. He established Lottie Dolls in 2012, and the locally based company now employs 10 people. Since its launch, the Lottie Dolls brand has challenged the toy industry in terms of body image, gender stereotypes, diversity and disability. Lottie Dolls are sold in over 30 countries and have won 35 international toy awards. Last year was his company's most successful, with sales increasing by 40%. In this clip, Ian talks about the early days of Lottie Dolls.
We launched Lottie in 2012, so we're literally in our 10th year this year, and we were the first to look at developing a doll with the average proportions of a human. So our doll's sculpted on the average proportions of a 9-year-old child. The head's a little bit larger to allow for hair play, but the whole body is sculpted on the average proportions of a child.
So was there much time spent on research and development before you actually decided on the final product?
Yeah, so one of the first things we did was contacted Dr. Ashwell, and she put us in touch with lots of other child development experts, from body image experts to child psychologists to nutrition experts and play experts. We then contacted retailers. We asked retailers, what is it that you want? Where's the gaps in the market? And they pretty much told us, look, you need to do exactly what's on the market, but just give a little twist on it and put your own mark on it. It needs to be the same height, and the packaging needs to be the same. It needs to be, the clothes that you make with it needs to play with other dolls that are on the market. And we ignored all of that advice pretty much, and we instead followed what kids told us that they wanted.
And it was the voice of Ian Harkin, as interviewed by Kieran O'Donnell. And if that's whetted your appetite, that's part of a much longer interview. And Kieran, where can people hear it?
Yeah, it is available to download now, Greg. Donal.
That's okay, Connie.
I was making sure I wasn't going to make that mistake this morning, so there you are. And on Spotify and iTunes, Donal. And it also goes out on Sunday evening after the 6 o'clock news.
And if anyone wants to get in touch with the show, just drop an email to
businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Kieran O'Donnell, a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Donal.
And you can call me what you want, don't you worry. That's Kieran there, Business Matters. Another Business Matters, of course, on the programme next Wednesday. And as Kieran said, you can listen now to that interview with Ian Harkin. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, and also you can hear it on air. It'll be broadcast after the news on Sunday evening at 6 o'clock.
Cup of Tea Festival Ardra, the greatest little big festival in Ireland, April 29th to May 2nd. This year honouring world-renowned accordion player Dermot Byrne at a special concert on Friday the 29th in the Nesbitt Arms. Dermot will also do a masterclass on accordion at the School of Music, while Breed Harper will have a masterclass on fiddle. A special event to acknowledge the contribution of the Campbells will take place at the Beehive. The Cup of Tea Festival Ardra, May Bank Holiday Weekend. For details, see ardra.ie.
O'Neill Sportswear massive warehouse clearance sale. T-shirts, tracksuit bottoms, half zips, hoodies and jackets, all reduced to clear starting from £6. When it's gone, it's gone. Open from 10 a.m. Wednesday the 20th to Saturday the 23rd of April. Open from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. Sunday the 24th of April. The sale will take place at O'Neill Sportswear Warehouse off the Melmount Road roundabout, Strabane.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us what. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €6 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Get your weekly shop at M&S. Check out remarkable value with over 100 everyday products at really surprising prices, like pasta for just 50 cents, or fresh market specials, seasonal veg, all at 50 cents. Plus, we've lowered the prices on the products we know you love to buy, from our traceable lean Irish minced beef to rich tea biscuits. So pop in today and enjoy great quality at prices you love, with all these ways to save at M&S Food. Subject to availability, see in store for details.
Flanagan's massive half-price store clear-out sale is now on in Buncrana. 50% off Irish-made sofas, tables, beds, wardrobes, rugs and occasional furniture. Pay today and take it away. Furnish your home for half price. Don't miss out. www.flanagans.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Thinking of a sun holiday with the family? You can now fly to Barcelona 3 times weekly this summer with Ryanair and enjoy some of Europe's best family campsites. Ireland West Airport, you're flying.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you in association with Florit, Letterkenny, celebrating 5 years in business, offering quality wooden floors at exceptional value. Visit florit.ie.
And looking at the weather forecast, it'll be mostly dry with sunny spells, just a slight chance of an isolated shower. The cloud increasing later with highest temperatures of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius, light to moderate south-southeast breezes. Tonight we'll see some clear spells and isolated light showers, lowest temperatures of 3 to 7 degrees Celsius, light to moderate east to southeast or variable winds. And tomorrow Thursday, sunny spells and isolated showers, top temperatures 13 to 15, again moderate to fresh east to southeast breezes. And that's Highland Radio News. No, it's not. Sorry, I keep on saying that because it's just automatic. You read a weather forecast and say that's Highland Radio News. We'll be back in an hour, and then you go off and have a cup of coffee. I can't go off and have a cup of coffee just yet because we are going to be speaking to our next guest in just a moment. Indeed, we'll do so right now because we're going to speak to Christina, who is on the line. Christina, good morning.
Hello, Donal. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. Pleasure to speak to you as always. Christina, almost 3/4 of an hour waiting in a financial institution today, and you're not best pleased.
I'll tell you, Donal, I'm sure that most of the... Now, I know there's more important things in the world going on right now. I do understand that. But it's just something that was picked up by Highland there, and to say that what we're experiencing as customers of different services is basically unacceptable. You know, I had reason to communicate with 2 financial institutions yesterday to do simple things. Now, before anybody suggests internet banking, I am on internet banking. However, with the situation that's happening at the moment, there were a couple of things that I had to sort out with different financial institutions, and I was 43 minutes on the phone trying to talk to a human being. And I'd reason then to communicate with another financial institution, which is actually leaving Ireland very soon, and I was 17 minutes on the phone there and got cut off. So when you add the 2 together, that was 1 hour out of my life. And I know that might not sound very important, but what I'm gathering from different people is the amount of personal time that's basically being ripped away from people, wasting time on phones, trying to communicate with services like electricity services, financial institutions, whatever service it seems to be nowadays. And people are coming off and they're angry, annoyed, frustrated, all of those types of things. And there doesn't seem to be anywhere where you can vocalise this, where you can vote with your feet on this. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, we hear all this nonsense about caring for the customer and all the wonderful taglines, and you know, they're looking for your feedback and all that.
Yeah, and presumably, and presumably you spent the first 10 to 15 minutes going, type in the last 4 digits of your account number, and then for if you wish to do X, press 1. If you wish to do Y, press Z, and then you go, what was that again? And should I and shouldn't I? And you know, if you wish to speak to one of our, are they calling them associates or colleagues these days?
Oh, I haven't got a
the words seem to vary. It's to speak to one of our associates or colleagues, or you know, to speak to a human person, you know, and
crazy.
As the old saying goes, been there, done that.
Oh yeah, everybody has, I'm sure, at this stage, you know, and it was like type in this, type in that, type in the other, and how many letters is in your mother's maiden name, and I was busy scribbling that down and counting the letters to put the number in. I was going, this is. So what I decided to do is I had a transaction to do in the bank, and I went in to do the bank on the a particular transaction. And then I thought, right, it'll be handier to do these transfers and everything else. I'll just go on to the internet and do that. But then when I realised that it was difficult to do one of them, I basically was trying to get onto the 2 institutions, and it was, I guess, 1 full hour trying to do something that is supposed to be more convenient nowadays. Well, it is not. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree with me that whatever convenience we used to have of walking in and queuing up in a bank and getting a result at the end of it, it's really worthwhile doing. Whereas nowadays, you know, even when you go into a bank, you know, or, you know, different banks, and you say, look, I want to do A, B, and C, they say, well, can you not do it online?
Yeah.
And you say, well, I've already tried to do that online. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, you did mention that one of the institutions in question is an institution that'll be leaving the country shortly, and I did see, and I have no wish to distress you or anybody else, but I did see an article in a paper over the weekend that there are going to be some serious issues and serious delays for people who are actually facing making alternative arrangements.
Oh yeah, it's going to be difficult for people, and here's the thing as well. When I called their Irish number, I got through to some call centre that dealt with Northern Ireland accounts. When they said, oh, you phoned Northern Ireland, I said, well, I tried to phone the Republic of Ireland number, and they said, oh, we'll put you through to the Republic of Ireland. They put me through to our RBS in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I was, what? I'm now with Scotland. They said, oh, no, we'll put you back through to... And I thought, oh, this is just unreal.
But the issue now is you do not know. You'll be speaking to someone and you do not know whether the person you're speaking to is going to be in Cork or Karachi, and that is, and they are 2 very viable options. That may very well be the case. That, I mean, the person you're speaking to may very well be in a completely different country now.
Oh, they definitely are, Donal. And the frustrating thing is, you know, that there's no avenue for us as customers anymore to do anything about these things. You know, there really is no avenue. It doesn't matter whether it's a financial institution or an ESB service, an electricity service, or whatever it might be, whatever type of service that we have to make these phone calls to now, we are made to wait and wait and wait. And it can be quite an unsatisfactory and frustrating process, and you may not get the result that you need to get, you know. And, like, it's just such, you know, we're not empowered anymore around our choices on things. It's just a grab for profit, and we don't really care about you. I mean, that's just the feeling that I'm getting from all different types of institutions.
I remember once I tried, and I know someone that did this in another context and it worked. If you ring a sort of, do you want to open an account, ring this number. You ring that, you get through fairly sharpish. And I've heard of people who've rung that number and then got transferred from them. Oh, yeah, well, listen, before I do this, can you transfer me over there? I just need to do something else. And, you know, people have tried to play the system that way. But I know that has worked for some in the past, that they've actually rung the, you know, because there'll be a number for new customers or for inquiries, and you'll get a person on that line a lot quicker than you'll get, you know, on a, or if you're giving up the bottom line, if you're giving them something, you'll get through in 5 minutes. If you want them to give you something, get a cushion.
It can be very difficult to sort out things that aren't the standard, if you get me. You know, if standard transactions, standard transfers, you know, all those kind of things, basically can be done via the internet and that, and we're all kind of moving in that direction. But there are things that cannot be completed in that way, and therefore you do need an action of a person in the institution to permit that to happen.
Yeah.
And basically trying to get through to these institutions now is an absolute nightmare for so many people. And I'm just thinking, what I did, I stuck the phone on, dialed the number, was expecting a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
And in that time, I had my break. I made my cup of coffee. I did various different tasks, etc., and I let the phone rattle away to the point that my daughter was here working with me, using a workspace with me, and she said, "I can't stick this any longer. I'm away to work somewhere else."
Mm-hmm. And were you told every minute and a half that your call was important to them?
Your call is important to us.
Yes.
Please hold it as if it is. Now, what they should do, the way they record they say your call may be recorded for training purposes.
For training and purposes, yeah.
They should actually record the wait, not the call. They should record the frustration of the wait, where people are probably cursing at the phone.
Well, they might find some very interesting things if they were to make such recordings. Christina...
That might give them a good picture of what customers actually think of their service.
Yeah, I suspect they very possibly know already. Christina, thank you very much indeed for that. And I feel your pain because, and I think we all have been that soldier at some point in time. Christina, thank you indeed.
We're going to continue to be so because there's just nothing being done about it, and there doesn't seem any recourse for complaint. Or, if you complain to the person on the phone, then they're only working in a call centre, so it doesn't get to the places it needs to, and they don't care anyway, Donal. That's just the bottom line.
Indeed. And on that optimistic note, Christina, thank you very much indeed. Good morning.
Okay, bye.
Okay, Doug, just a few comments before we go. Caller says, I've heard many people talk over the past while about passport delays. I sent off for my passport renewal yesterday at 11 o'clock. I received it in the post this morning. I think the main problem in recent times hasn't been with renewals, it has been with new passport applications. I know my own daughter applied for her passport renewal and it came through in about 48 hours as well. Caller says, question for Councillor Donal Coyle, what's going on in relation to the Monaghy Bridge roadworks and the link that was meant to be built there? The Monaghy link is on the agenda in a document that lasts until 2040, so it will at some point be available. Caller asks, is there a start date for the widening of the Leck Road? We don't have that information to hand at the moment. Caller is saying the phone signal in the Ardra area is very bad at the moment. Is anybody else having problems? So asks a caller. And the caller said it's a thundering disgrace, the lifting of suspensions on all three Armagh players to make them eligible to play against Donegal on Sunday. The only conclusion we can take from this unbelievable decision of favouritism is that the Donegal players were fighting between or amongst themselves. It's an incredible outcome that stinks. There's no credibility in Croke Park. Now, in fairness, Donegal had the option to appeal and chose not to. Armagh appealed, and this is the Armagh appealed, Donegal didn't. Now, had Donegal appealed as well and Armagh's appeal was upheld and Donegal wasn't, then maybe there might be questions to be asked in that respect. But I think in fairness, Donegal did have the option to appeal and didn't. But as we said with Oisin and Brendan during our discussion there, you can be darn sure that every county and every club will be appealing everything from now on. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you to all our contributors. Thank you to all our guests. Thank you to you for listening. Thanks to Caroline and to Donna Marie for everything they've done over the course of the programme. Greg's back tomorrow. Up next, John Breslin is around the Northwest.
At McGee's.ie, you can create gallery quality art on canvas from your favourite photo, direct from your phone, laptop or PC.